Hello, 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 everyone. Let me know if you can hear me. Let me know if you can hear me out there. Can you hear me? Hello. Put your hands up. Everybody, put your hands up. Put your hands up. All right, come on. Can you feel it? Can you feel it? Come on, everybody. I want to hear your heartbeat. I want to feel your heartbeat. Come on, everybody. I don't know what I'm doing. Um, Audio good. Cool. Cool. You know, I was the other day, a guy walked by me. I was by my car, and he said, "Thank you so much for your service." And he shook my hand, and I don't know why he did that. I'm never been in the military. I have a sticker on my car. It's like a cross, and it says ICX Nika. The only thing I could think of was maybe he saw that and thought it was some kind of insignia or something. But I mean, I didn't even correct him. And when we started talking, he talked to me about like his 12 years in service, and I was in too deep. I was in too deep. I couldn't go back and correct. And so I mean, I got to act the part now. So I got to eat one of these later, and not looking forward to it. But I can't go back now. I'm too far, much too deep into that. So if y'all have any advice to pretend like you're in the military, I'm just glad he didn't use any like lingo that I wouldn't be aware of. I did a lot of like nodding and I didn't understand about half of what he said still, but that's okay. That is all right. Today we will be looking at some atheist stuff. If you anything you guys want me to look at particularly, then just feel free to send it in the chat, and I will try to start, and we'll look at it. I've got a bunch of stuff, but we don't have to get into all of it today. We've got about 2 hours in me today. I'm gonna go and mow the lawn. It's a nice day out. Good day to mow the lawn. Takes me about 2.5 hours to get it all done. Okay, let's do this before we move on. Nadim wants us to address the beef. The beef he's talking about was yesterday's stream. So let me pull it up. Nadim. Moldy apple. Is okay. Wait, I shouldn't have shared it yet. That was just me grabbing. That was me getting a screen cap for the thumbnail there. Nadim, which one's you? Which one's you? Nadim had a dad. None of these still. There you are. Okay, I had to dress this beef. Let me plug my earbuds in real quick. My earbuds. Don't have a darn charger block. Couldn't find one, so hopefully my earbuds here.
What's up, guys? I know there won't be a lot of people, so I just do it like as a video type. I'm here to address the persecution Yakub is getting at. Yakub is being persecuted, and I'm gonna show you the proof. So yesterday, I thought I had friends. I thought I had friends.
Demons, dude. Can you hear me? Demons. Demons are messing with me. I didn't change anything on my audio. I don't know why I cannot hear Nadim. You guys say you can't hear me. Yeah, this is Yakub's fault. Yakub deserves to be persecuted, dude. I still can't hear. I still can't hear him. Why not? Okay, you guys can hear me, but I still can't hear the video. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I don't know why it'll randomly
Persecute
not work. I don't know what I'm doing different. I have to like vamp while I figure this out on the fly. Says it's on the right one. Says it's on the right input. Let me go to my computer settings. Thank you guys. This is so good. I love doing content like this where it's just, this is the danger of doing live streams is just the technical difficulties, and you have to pretend like you're still okay. I think I found it. Is that Let's press play.
and Yaqub.
Hear him. Sorry guys.
And,
What is this about?
and that is absolutely impossible to let this happen. This North Madness, man. Listen,
except for the Lebanese guy.
look,
What's
they
it like
talk
there? It's
about
Pride
me
Month.
when
It
I'm
must
not
be nuts
present.
over
They
there. 'Cause
put me
I
in
remember
the
what it was like in
bathroom.
Canada when I was there. Here, nothing.
John, do you have like restless leg syndrome?
Yeah.
Look, I even tell them there's
What's it like in
Yaqub
and what's the
persecution.
gay land like over there? Dude?
Nobody answer
No, that
because
was-
they
It
stupid.
is absolutely dead. They will not do it. They will be shut down.
Okay, I mean my honest reaction to all of this drama, like really, I'm just being honest. Here, let me pull it up. This is my honest reaction. Get one of these, dude. Get one of those. It's cheap. It's good. It's a good little mic. I don't know if you're probably recording on your phone, then get one of these ones that you can plug in. I don't know if you need a lightning cable. I mean, do your own research, man. Just fix that dang audio. That's it. That's it. I mean, maybe I shouldn't talk because, as you can tell, my settings on my laptop change and I don't realize it. Which really all this means is, hey, please, I don't mean to beg, but I will. If you could please support the channel monetarily, that'd be a big help to me. I could finally build a studio, get out of the beautiful weather here, be a little lurker in my studio. I could yell a lot more, let that part of my personality soar and be free. Because I am a little muted often because I do this when my daughter is sleeping. I do this during her nap time. And also I'm outside and my neighbors are often outside. They're outside right now looking at their fig tree. And I'm trying not to be too much of a weirdo because I do have to like live beside them. Yeah, I mean, I do have a real job. What do you mean to get another one? I have to get another one too? I have to get a second job? That's a lot, dude. Well, I mean, okay. Going to the atheist thing real quick. Let me zoom out here. Oh, the best example to me of atheism being a religion, of course, is Velkin 1. It's really sad to see. You hate to see it, but I mean, I feel like it's pretty self-evident when you look at the data. I mean, I've amassed quite a bit of data of Velkin 1 because she comments on like all of my stuff. So we don't have to go through all of the comments here. There's quite a bit of comments. Feel free to look at my series if Christians argue like atheists. Quite hilarious if I do say so myself. The comments are good too, but and a lot of the comments become videos. And then I'm sure those same people that made those comments comment on the new video without realizing they're the one in the video. Just to help you get channel out there. What was it? Going to start adding you to my clips. Oh, wow. Why, thank you. Yeah, definitely, Nadeem, go get a dang mic. That is why I kick you off because your audio. Man, I'm a host, dude. I'm hosting a show, and you don't have to be like an audio engineer or a musician. The goal is when somebody's watching a show, they don't even think about the audio because it's just doing its job. But especially when I do those open panels, man, I don't talk in them as much because I'm not trying to talk over people. And man, Nadeem, I'm not trying to start more beef, but your audio, it is straight AIDS. It is heterosexual AIDS, my dude. Let me pull up this one glorious comment of Velkin 1 if I can find it. I think it's, oh my gosh, right here. Here we go. Yeah, Moldy Apple is gonna donate a mic to you, dude. Okay. I'm an atheist, and one thing is I really don't care whether or not you have evidence or anything like that. Strange thing to not care about. I do it by principle. The church sucks. Many followers use it as an excuse, and religion itself doesn't allow for true freedom or self-expression. I wish there was an afterlife, but no religions I know of give a good one. What does that mean? Give a good afterlife? like evidence for an afterlife? I mean, you just said you don't care about evidence. Do you mean like you get stuff? I mean, Islam gives you like, I mean, it literally says it gives you boys that you can molest and they won't bleed. I mean, that's what Islam believes. So I don't know if that appeals to you, but that's them. I said true freedom only exists in the church because often when we talk about like American freedom, something like that, it usually ends up just being enslaved to your passions, enslaved to sin, enslaved to degeneracy. And maybe we can have a conversation between the Christian view and conception of freedom and a libertarian freedom. They're definitely different, but they do have some overlap. But yeah, my position is if you are enslaved to something like sin, if something has mastered you and you are now its slave, then how can that be freedom? But people be like, I want to be free to be enslaved to these things. Valken 1 jumps in out of nowhere and says, Christians can't agree on this lie either since they can't agree on who the true Christians are. I'm like, I just ignored her because I agree who the true Christians are just because there's other groups that I will say it over and over and over and over and over. The fact that there are multiple claims of a truth that are competing and they do not agree does not mean that my claim is false. That's a fallacy. Doesn't make any sense. It's a fallacy. And these comments are littered with that comment over and over. I've come to realize doing these videos for, what was it, like 3 months now, that once you get to like the 50th comment of an atheist, and like every atheist, if it's like monkeys, you know, when they type at a typewriter enough, they will write all of Shakespeare. Maybe not, maybe that's a weird example, but you get enough atheists to comment on something and eventually they'll start to, it's like an NPC in like Skyrim. Eventually you're going to hear who stole your sweet roll, and then an hour later you hear it again and you're like, aren't you a different guard? Aren't you a different atheist? You're saying the same exact thing, but you guys don't have a worldview and you're not a religion. Why you guys say the same thing? Yeah, if I'm right, why do I disagree with you? That's what Velkin is saying. If you're right, why do I not agree with you? Why do I not also hold? Why aren't we? A lot of atheism comes down to, why am I not a robot? God's not real because I want to be a robot and I want to be sedated. I want to be sedated. Then this one, saying true freedom only exists in an area created to dodge American taxes and kick out poor people couldn't be true freedom. Skipping over Velkin, I said, yes, the church started in 33 AD was created to avoid American taxes. Velkin says one of the most glorious comments I've seen from poor Andrea. Everybody, poor Andrea in the chat. Poor Andrea. Wes does a wonderful job showing how divorced from reality he is. Then she quotes me. Yes, the church started in 33 AD was created to avoid American taxes. Is she retarded? I'm not trying to be mean, but like, is she retarded? Poor Andrea in the chat, everybody. Poor Andrea. How does me restating what the previous guy said prove that I'm divorced from reality? Does she not realize that I'm restating what this guy said? I'm trying to put it in clear terms. That he's saying the church created 2,000 years ago was created in order to dodge American taxes. That doesn't make any sense. But somehow I'm the gay one. Always. I mean, why am I the gay one? You know, I've been asking myself that for years. I'm gay through association, I guess. I mean, it's not what I want, but seems to be what I get. Seems to be what I deserve. Anyways, that was there's a bunch of other funny ones. I have to sift through them. It's very tiresome. Very tiresome. Very tiresome, guys. Poor Andrew in the chat. Okay, I haven't looked through the comments. If there's anything you guys want me to react to, break down, let you know what's really going on, let me know, you guys. And Anson, our atheist pal, hope you've been to. Hope you're doing good. First of all, would love to know if you've gone to either that Greek or that Serbian church that's nearby. Hope you're doing well, dude. Atheists don't have a worldview grounded in truth. That's why they are perfect subjects of an all-powerful government. Yeah, I agree. I mean, that's why communism is rooted in atheism. It's trying to break down people's roots, make them rootless, make them atheistic, kill God, so they can be manipulated and controlled. If we're all just animals, then we can be treated like animals. But Anson, that's a really good point. They do have a worldview. It's just not grounded in truth. I mean, some of them will agree that there is such thing as truth. They don't really have a justification philosophically for it. But many atheists that I personally know will say that there is no such thing as truth, which is a truth claim. So it's self-defeating. I hope we all can just see that and not have to. Oh, thank you, sir. Yes, I came to realize that wearing a belt while I'm on having a work day and I get home and you take it off and you're like, "What? My hips hurt. Am I getting old? I don't want to get old." And so I started wearing these, and it seems to get better, man. Seems to be better. Hope you're doing good, Toilet Boil Earth. Welcome to Toilet Bowl Earth. What is it? Boys and Girls of the Corn reference. Oh, is that I saw that in like high school. I haven't seen it so long. What's not a religion? Atheism? Yeah, it's a religion. It's just a false religion. It's very clearly a religion. Let's see. Well, I'm just gonna go ahead and pull a video up. It's a little bit long, but we're gonna do kind of a medley of different things today. And hope you guys are having a good time. Hope you're having a good day. Let's just trek through this. Let me pull it up. So we're gonna. Oh no! Oh my gosh! I pressed the wrong button. View full playlist. There we go. We're just gonna finish watching the second half of that Mr. Anderson video. Him saying that how the atheists can destroy Christianity, or sorry, presuppositional argumentation. And to give you a recap of the first half of this video, he basically said that you just control the conversation and don't let them talk, or you get them to agree to things in a very vague, lawyery sense, so they don't know what they're agreeing to, and then you can say you got them somehow. But I don't know. Very tiring, very low tier. Let's see what he has to say.
Hey guys, my name is Mr. Anderson, and I'm mean to people on the internet. I'm always very polite about it, though. I just tend to ask difficult questions and insist on the answers.
Yeah,
I did a video a
of
little
course you
while
do.
ago about dealing with presuppositionalists, and I talked about kind of nipping it in the bud by getting ahead of it and sort of just making sure we agreed on certain fundamental assumptions. And that works well if you have the opportunity, but sometimes you don't, and you're just going to run into somebody in the wild that uncorks this kind of argument on you. And so it's important to know how to deal with that as well. And you kind of resort to the same sort of basics, but here's a good example of how I dealt with it when I ran across such a beast. So I hope you enjoy.
Yeah, you were gonna hammer me, right? With a line of
Oh, you're gonna hammer me. Ugh. Are we doing phrasing still? It's me, Alex, asked, give a definition of religion. Well, that's part of the problem, is that basically atheists just say religion, it means you have a deity, or they'll say, you ask them to define religion, and they'll say, well, they have to have sacred books or all that. But then Christianity wasn't a religion for like 300 something years, because Christianity didn't have a religious book. Sorry, it didn't have the New Testament, it had the Old Testament, but it didn't have the modern book by any means. So there are different ways to look at the religion. And I think just looking at it as something that binds a people together, something they come together to put their focus on, something that's higher than themselves. And atheists, there's different sects of atheists, different denominations, if you will, just like in Protestantism. They all have a lot of their core beliefs, like the Protestants. Like the Protestants have their solas. They have sola scriptura, sola fide, etc. And just like that, all of the atheists have determinism, empiricism, and materialism. And maybe they have some other stuff, but those seem to be the consistent core dogmas, unquestioned axioms of the atheists that bind them together. And they have that as their core belief in their religion. They're very dogmatic about it. And you can look at another stream we did. I need to probably just do like clips of it or break it down more. But we gathered like a list of like 30 things that made that were proof, evidences of atheism being a religion. All of the things they do. They literally have atheist churches. They have atheist sermons, all this stuff. Alex is saying a religion is a strong belief in or following a deity. That's not an atheistic claim. Yeah, I just don't agree that it has to have a deity involved. Or if it does, we could still say that atheism ends up being it's still worship. That's the problem. Just because it's not worshiping a proclaimed deity doesn't mean they're not worshiping. A lot of them worship themselves. It's a lot of self-worship, worshiping the intellect, worshiping science as itself, worshiping empiricism, worshiping progress, vaguely defined. There are different, like I said, different sects, different denominations. Alex, you say you don't worship anyone or anything. I'm very skeptical of that. Call me a true skeptic, but yeah, I don't believe you. I'm not convinced. I am sorry.
Questioning like
I think you can worship things without
Don't put us
knowing
to
it.
sleep, Darth. Don't put us to sleep.
No, let's
I would ask.
bring all of the funk and all of the,
Oh, don't worry, it's not too hard.
Go for it. Go for it.
Not hard question. So I'm gonna ask for the rest of the panel to not interrupt. Okay.
So I was aware of the concept of presuppositionalists at the time of this recording, but I hadn't done a true deep dive into.
Sorry for making you guys watch this as well. I apologize.
And this guy, has all the hallmarks of looking to make a presuppositionalist argument. One of the indications right off the bat is that he's calling himself Darth Theranos, I believe it is. And it is most likely a reference not to Darth Vader, but to Darth Dawkins, who is kind of the, I would say, probably most famous presuppositionalist. He's a guy on the internet. He's like, I don't know, I think he's like,
I've never gotten to Darth
70
Dawkins.
years old,
I assumed he was an atheist. Am I wrong?
He can be quite obnoxious. But he really likes presuppositionalist arguments, and he likes being very combative, and he likes asking lines of questions without being interrupted. And so that was another indication.
You don't like
when this
so you like being
although,
interrupted?
as I say, I didn't know that
What?
at the time.
So first of all, are you a Darwinian evolutionist? Just to clarify that.
Define the term.
It's a person who believes that the diversity of
Again, it's me, Alex. You're saying worship is defined as the feeling or expression of reverence or adoration for a deity, or show of reverence or adoration for a deity. I think that is a cope, personally, to only define it as deity. I mean, that's your view. That's fine. I'm not gonna knock you for having a view. I just don't think that we share the same definition of worship. And I'm not trying to do what atheists do to me all the time, which is saying, "Oh my gosh, Alex, this is what you guys do all the time." I'm not trying to be mean to you, but atheists always be like, "It's just the definition. Words only have one definition. It's only one way you can use it. You can't use it any other way." So you really do have a religious text. You have the dictionary. You think it's infallible. You think that it's God. You think it evolved out of nothing and just gives us perfect definitions, and that words exist in a vacuum. I'm not saying that you literally explicitly say that, but that is how atheists treat the dictionary. Oh, it's just what the word means. Look, worship right there. Right there. You can't deny it. It's right there. And the word worship was used long before the dictionary, man. Not trying to be mean or nothing, but yeah, words can have different meaning, but they have words that don't explain what they mean. They don't stop using words. Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to try to do the thing that atheists do, which is incredulity. So I have a definition of faith as a Christian, but atheists will often say, let's just look at the dictionary. The dictionary says faith means something you believe in despite having no evidence. So it's just blind faith, and you have no reason to believe in it. That's not what a Christian says faith is. Same thing with evil. Atheists say evil is bad thing happen, and that's not what Christians say evil is. So we can say that's just the word, but words have many meanings, and they are theory laden. It has to be viewed through a worldview. So, anyways, you guys want to keep going back to this, Mr. I mean, yeah. Hey, you want to come on? We can watch this later. I'd love to talk to you. I'm not trying to be mean or nothing. Let me pop this on. And again, I'm not looking to have any kind of formal debate, Mr. Alex. It's just discussion. I'm not trying to get you. I'm not trying to do a gotcha. Love to hear your perspective. There is the StreamYard link, man. I wait. The chickens are approaching. They're coming for me. I don't know how, Marty, but they found me. The Libyans. Hey, Nadim, how close are the Lebanese to the Libyans? You guys like the same thing, basically? Hello, Ryan remembers. I've had about 10 people say that we should have a conversation. Ryan. Well, I'm going to keep, I don't see Alex in here. If he jumps on, I can pause the video, but I'm going to keep pressing on, you guys.
Of life forms today came about through earlier life forms.
I do think that I think I've been clear that I do think that that evolution is true, or I do think that the diversity of life. Yeah. Okay. Sure. Yeah. I'm a Darwinian evolutionist. Then, and by that definition, then I think that's a fair comment. Yep.
All right. So, do you think our Darwinian evolution can be defended without?
Alex, you there?
Yes, hello there.
How you doing, sir?
I'm doing very well. I just had my first exam, so I'm tired, but I'm good.
I gotcha. What are you studying?
I'm doing biotechnology.
I gotcha. Are you here in the United States?
No, I live in Belgium.
Okay.
All right. So basically my point was that the only reason we define words is that if I tell you, like, for example, hey, are you my friend, for example, and you don't know what friend means, it's very hard to know what I just told you. So we have a definition in place to explain what words mean so you can have a better understanding of what someone says. So if I tell you, I worship this thing, you can look up what worshiping means so you can know what I mean by what I said. And that's why it's very important to know what the definition is of a different word. And a word can have different meanings. You can always have a different definition of a certain word. You can have a worship of a deity, or you can have a worship of another thing.
Right.
But in my life, I have not worshipped anything in the same sense that I would say you probably worship God. I mean, I like science. I study science. I love the processes, but I don't, by a matter of speaking, I don't, pray to science every night, for example. You know what I mean? That's the basic thing that I meant. And atheism, it's basically telling, I'm just, if you say to me, I believe in God, and I say, cool, but I don't believe your claim on that, that is atheism. You could believe that unicorns created the universe. That's a very outlandish thing, of course. You can also say nothing created the universe, which I'm pretty sure no atheists believe that. Or you can say, I don't know. If you say, I don't know, you are just, you don't know. You don't have to know what created the universe to be an atheist, or, I can live my life not knowing what created the universe. And if it turns out that God is real, so be it. I'm not lying awake every single night worrying about it because I don't believe he's real. That's pretty much all I had to say, to be honest.
Yeah, there's a lot to unpack there. I wasn't taking notes or anything, so let's try to start from the beginning. You said atheism is the claim, or the position that you deny the theist claim that there is a God, right? So that are you saying it's not a worldview?
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, you could call it a part of a worldview, but it isn't one in and of itself.
So if it was a part of a worldview, what worldview would it be a part of? Would it be what I said at the beginning, determinism, empiricism, physicalism?
Well, basically, if you tell me I believe in God, right?
Okay.
Your entire world is around that God. Not for every single person, of course. Some people have a different type of belief, but if you
Some are
say,
nominal.
yeah, exactly. If you say, I believe God created the world, I believe evolution is a lie, I believe all that stuff, and if I was to prove that wrong, I would buckle your entire worldview, because your entire, understanding of the world was centered on that fact or on that belief. However, if you told me God is actually real, like on some way you found out the actual pure evidence that no one can discredit, like you have video evidence, you have, or I saw it with my own eyes, and something like that, I would look at that and be like, oh, okay, I was wrong.
So you would accept some evidence. Is it what are you saying? You would be physical evidence, like empirical data, sense data?
Yes, and to be honest, I cannot tell you what exact evidence it would take to make me believe, because that would make me a liar, because no one can say that exact thing would make me a believer. I would just be like, when I see it, I will believe it. And if that happened, it would not shatter my worldview, because I know evolution is real. I've studied it for at least a year now. I know I don't know the intricate details because I'm not focusing on it, but I have seen a lot of data and evidence surrounding it. And I don't need, and if you tell me a God is real, I will just expect, oh, okay, so the God put this evolution in motion. It will not crush my worldview, because atheism isn't a worldview in and of itself. It's just, oh, okay, so we have all of these things, and also I don't believe in this God. It's just a very tiny part of it. It's not my world isn't centered on there not being a God. Oh, where do I go from there? It's just, okay, so I know this and this and this, and I don't believe in God also.
So you still there's a lot to unpack and different places to go, but so like I believe it was Dawkins who said even if God physically appeared to him and said, "I am God, you cannot deny me," he said, "I'd still deny, as I can assume that would just mean being having an hallucination." So
Yeah.
you would you take that approach as well? Like no matter what, he won't be considered. That's like anti-theism, you could say, or like
Well,
strict atheism, something like that.
I'm gonna be honest, I don't know how I would react to that.
Right.
Like it's very hard to imagine that scenario, because to be honest, I have never seen a miracle happen. I have never seen anything out of the ordinary. I have seen people making up stories, like, well, not making up, telling me stories about, oh, I've seen ghosts and I've seen
Yeah.
demons. I've never seen that, so I would not know how that would, make any sense to me. So if that were to happen, my first approach would, of course, to, scientifically look at it. Okay, what happened? Could there be a reason that I saw something? For example, if I hit my head real hard and then I saw that, that would be my first instinct. If it happened out of nowhere, now that's a bit more tricky, and I would have to, look at it from an outside perspective. Maybe ask someone else, like, hey, preferably an atheist friend, because I don't want the bias of, yeah, it's definitely God. So, but I will also not take their word for it 100%, because they're also kind of biased, not completely, but also kind of, yeah, you probably just saw something. So I wouldn't know for 100% certainty what I would think, but I would definitely try and see the logical reasoning behind it, because as far as I'm concerned, everything has a logical reason behind it, whether it's, oh, it's a miracle, or, oh, I saw a ghost. It's usually just, I don't know exactly.
I mean, that's like one thing that's can be frustrating from a, let's just say my position as an Orthodox Christian. when I'm having conversations with atheists where they're like, "Oh, you're illogical because you believe in fairy tale miracles," and it's
Mhm.
like, well, it's from my. Can you try to do an internal critique of my position to show me how it's illogical? 'Cause let's just take a miracle like Jesus Christ walking on water. They could say like, well, that can't have happened because human beings can't do that. But Jesus Christ, we believe, is
Yeah.
God. So if it's proper in God's nature to have command and dominion over material reality in that way, then there's no contradiction. It would follow that he could do that.
Yeah.
But they're like they have this epistemological foundation of empiricism. You know, I can't see it. I can't smell it, taste it. I can't see it. I can't hear it. I'm not going to believe in it. And I believe that a man can only do this. So they have this lens that they see it through, and then they aren't
Mhm.
capable of like trying to look at it from the other person's perspective. So I'm
Yeah.
still trying to figure out, like you said, atheism isn't a part of your it's a part of your worldview, but it's not your worldview in totality.
Yes.
And
Exactly.
you gave the example of if somehow you were convinced of, you kind of said generic theism, some kind of God, but you didn't say specifically Christianity. But
Yeah. I
um,
mean, you could
that,
always be wrong. Let's be honest here. There's always a chance of not, being the exact God that you believe in. And I'm going to be very honest with you. I do not mind the belief in God. What I don't like is when people make stuff up.
okay,
For example, evolution is a scientific theory. So it's definitely a thing that is real. And when people tell me it is not, I will get very upset about it because I don't like it when people claim that something is that when it is not that. I'm a scientific nerd. I will completely be honest about that. But like I don't want to I want to educate people. I don't want to make them sound stupid, but the moment that I explain the entire thing that I know about it and they still go, "Yes, but my book says something different," I'm going to be like, "Yeah, sorry mate, but that's just that I don't know what to tell you."
well, maybe you
If
haven't heard like great arguments. And I don't personally believe in evolution. There was probably a year and a half where I was really looking into it, and I wouldn't necessarily convinced, but I was definitely um sympathetic, and I would say I it's kind of how I was looking through at the world. I do think this is maybe a red herring. I'm not trying to get into like the specifics of evolution at the moment, but I would probably keep it more philosophical and ask questions of like, what are the implications of evolution? If um, because I mean, because there's things like, do you believe species exist?
I mean, we made species up. Well, the word, I mean, the definition of species is something we made up.
Right,
Because if you use the word, which I've heard a lot of Christians say, the word kind,
right.
that is way too broad of a term to use for the amount of animals that we have today. Like for example, a cat and a tiger. Is that the same kind? Because it is a different species, but is it the same kind? Or a
Yeah, I mean,
dog and
it's
a
a
wolf.
different model, but I mean, yeah, you could say,
It's the same kind. You would say that, but it's way too vague for scientists to, have an accurate representation of the animal. So the thing is with evolution is it doesn't have a goal in mind. We as humans are still evolving. Every single animal is still evolving. It's nonstop. It's not a thing that like, okay, now we made it. There's no end. That like it's not a thing that just goes like, okay, so I made my goal. I'm a human now. Good, we can stop. Like people are lactose intolerant now. That is a part of evolution. Like I've heard a lot of Christians say, especially I forgot his name, Kent Hovind. He said a lot of
I've only seen a little bit of him.
yeah. He said microevolution and macroevolution.
Yeah,
Those two things don't exist. It's both at the same time. Microevolution leads to macroevolution over a
I
long
understand that
period.
that's the model, but I would probably agree with Kent that we can observe adaptation, but the model of macroevolution is just an over extrapolation of the adaptation that we can observe. And that's my problem again with evolution from a philosophical point of view, is that you need observation to do science, to do the scientific method, and we can't observe
You don't
millions of years. We can't observe macroevolution we
Well,
only
you
can.
don't need observation for the entire thing. We also know, for example, that I don't know, 100 years ago, for example, there was a tsunami or some major thing. We can find that out using, geologists. I'm not a geologist. I have no fucking clue how that works. But they can find it out using, biometric dating or seeing how mud is on the floor. Like they can find all of that out. I'm not sure how exactly, but I'm sure I could find it if I did a bit of research.
Yeah.
We
And I'm not
don't
ex-
need.
and I'm not an expert on like how their instruments work either. But again, I would just start with the normal skepticism that I have of asking questions of like, okay, you have these, you have sense data. There's some kind of impression in the mud, let's say. So okay, there must have been something that made that impression in the mud. We have our instruments that tell us, okay, it happened 100 years ago. Okay, well, it seems like it can get stuck in circularity there to me of, we know it was this amount of time because our instrument said so. Okay, well, how do we know our instrument's right? Well, because it said that it was 100 years ago. Like, how do you actually test
Yeah.
that?
Okay,
So, and
I
I'm not,
have-
and I'm willing to like look into it. I haven't, but to me, I would just start with
How does it
asking
work?
questions. And sometimes you ask those
Yeah.
questions, you're just like, well, trust the science. And that's when we get
Oh.
into pointing towards, hey, atheism, doesn't this sound like a just shut your face up and
Yeah.
and follow and don't.
I completely.
The people that say they're skeptics get mad when you are trying to be a skeptic.
Yeah, I completely understand, but the thing is with science, not everything is as simple as, oh, it works because of this.
Right.
And I personally, I'm not at a high level yet. I can personally say that, but I do get the feeling that when I'm doing I'm writing out a chemistry equation, right, on paper, and my mom comes by and she's like, "What are you doing?" And I'm just like, "Oh yeah, I'm making a chemistry equation." And she's like, "Oh, how does this work?" I am not going to explain why
Right.
every electron moves the way it does. So I just say, "Oh, I know what I'm doing. Don't worry." But how biometric dating works, like for example, carbon dating, I don't know it like in pure detail, but I do know that every single like atom, for example, uranium, it irradiates energy, right?
Right.
And over time, it will have broken down into a second form. For example, I think it was uranium 256 or 265 or something like that. And we can measure, because it's a constant rate, we can measure what, like, how much of it has eroded over time and how fast this goes. So the same goes with carbon. After X amount of time, this carbon will have depleted into another atom called carbon 14. And if you take a measurement of some mud, and you can measure trace amounts of carbon 14 that is like half depleted, you can just calculate how quickly something depletes into carbon 14 and know how long ago that it was depleted into carbon 14. And that's how carbon dating basically works. It's a lot more complicated, I'm pretty sure, but that is the basic of it. And it's very, very realistic. Like, what do you mean? What am I talking about? Realistic. I mean, like it's very straightforward and it works because, I mean, the numbers add up.
Well, I know that from cursory looking into it, just not that I have looked into a ton, but the handful of hours I've done looking into it, it seems like they are people who do carbon dating openly admit that there's millions of years of error. Like they thought something like an artifact they found was 1.2 million years old, and hey, actually it's only 4,000 years old. And there is I've heard them describe it as, it's like being blindfolded, spun around, and you shoot your gun, and we're pretty sure you shot it in the right 90-degree circumference, right? Like the cone going this way. We're pretty sure you shot it in the right area, but you were nowhere near the target. That's kind of how they describe it, is that it's good enough, kind of.
I mean, yeah, like let's be honest, science is just the way of finding out the truth about the world.
Right. The
with
material.
Yeah.
So like that's one thing that doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Like I don't think you've fallen into this trap, but a lot of atheists will say that I can't believe in deity or of any kind because I believe in science. And to me, science is just the study of the natural world. So how can the study of the natural world prove or disprove something that is claimed
Yeah,
to be
so-
supernatural, which is another problem I have, because then they'll be like, show me. I all the time in the comments of my videos, I'll hear, show me the physical material evidence of your God and I'll believe. I'm like, then I reply, okay, show me the immaterial evidence of materialism and I'll believe that there's only such thing as materialism, because you're asking me to provide something that's not what the claim is at all. And it's it comes from this presupposition of empiricism that everything is proven through sense data, which it itself is self-defeating, I think, because how do you prove the axiom everything's proven from sense data in sense data? That axiom isn't found in sense data. So even the starting position of it can't justify itself.
Yeah, of course. And I never really said that there is no God. I'm just saying I don't believe it. I'm not gonna, like, just imagine. I'm not gonna tell you you're wrong because I have no clue. But just imagine you are. Like, I would not, like, I have freedom. I have God damn, I can't speak today. I have the choice. I have the choice to do whatever I want to do. I am not going to do bad things because I'm just not a bad person.
Well, that's loaded right there. What is?
Oh,
I mean, now you just brought immorality.
Wait, I'm not done yet.
Go on.
I definitely did mistakes in the past. I've lied. I've stolen candy from a random shop. I've done bad things, but does that make me a bad person? I would say not. Because everyone makes mistakes, everyone learns from their mistakes as they grow older, and I don't lie as much anymore. I don't steal at all. Like, today I borrowed a fork from a random restaurant and I brought it back right after, because why would I steal a fork? But
well, I mean, okay, so even just then, like, you just brought in a whole lot of, I mean, this is the point I keep trying to harping on with atheists, is that, like you said earlier, there is a definition of the word worship, and we can go look at that.
Yeah.
But different people will, and then you brought up the definition of friend. Look, if I don't know what a friend is, how do I know what you mean when you say that? But your conception of friendship and mine might be slightly different. Like you, in my head, if I'm friends with somebody, the friends I've had, we like we're comfortable. We can like make fun of each other. We can give each other a hard time, and we know that we don't hate each other. That's part of how we show affection and whatever,
Yeah.
We can take it. And it's kind of like a test. Like if you can't take us, like the rough and tumble play with our words, then I mean, you're not tough enough just for when we're being silly or whatever. But other people might be like, I don't like that at all. I don't want that. That's not friendship to me. So even though there might be like a definition of broad sense. Hey, Spliff, I'll have you on after Alex. I'm just gonna do like one at a time. Unless you want to talk to Alex specifically, just let me know. You do want to talk to Alex, okay? Let me finish this, and like I said, even just this conversation, there's so many places to take it. But my point is that all of these definitions are theory laden, and I understand your position is that worship doesn't involve it has to involve a deity, and that
not specifically, but
okay, I thought that's what you said in the comments, was that worship involved the adoration of a deity.
Yeah, I did, but the deity was in brackets because it usually is used for a deity, but it can also be something else. Like you can worship alcohol for some reason.
Okay,
but I in my life have not done that.
Okay, and like us as Christians, idolatry, we define that as worshiping the creation rather than the creator. So to us, worship doesn't have to be, and I think you just kind of mentioned it. Oh, Spliff's gone. Spliff, I was just about to let you on. Well, he's gone. If you want to jump back on, Spliff, I don't know if you meant to jump off. I'll let you back on. Yeah, like worship is a verb. It's something that you do, and it's something that you direct towards. So to us, I'm just trying to say that I think, and maybe it's different. Like I said, there's different kind of brands of atheism. There's some that are like Dawkins. They only trust their own intellect. And if they saw God revealed himself to them physically, he would assume he had an hallucination. So he's directing himself towards something, and he has specific criteria. And I'm still trying to understand your view of what your worldview would be. It sounds like you kind of view everything through like a biological evolutionary biologist lens. So I don't know if you'd say that's your worldview. To me, atheism still is a worldview, and even if it's not, I'd say it's founded on things that still just come to the conclusion of atheism. So it's like you can say atheism, or you can say materialism, determinism, empiricism. All these stuff are, one in the same to me. They one leads to the other, because you can't be a theist and believe in materialism, that material is all there is, because that precludes the ability of there being a deity, for instance.
Yeah. By the way, what did he say? He said something about you're making up definitions now. I never made it up. You can scroll back up. I said deity in brackets. That's
Yeah, you
can
did say
leave
that. I
it.
remember that. But my
Okay,
point
anyway.
is, even if it's in the dictionary as a specific definition, it doesn't mean it's how it's always used or how everybody's using it.
Yeah.
I had a lot of people say, just look at the dictionary. You can't be anything else.
No.
Okay, man.
Yeah. So yeah, if the thing about friends, right? I don't really know the definition of friends. If I just look it up, right?
Sad.
Friend.
It's very sad, man.
No,
I'll
but
be your
like
friend.
yay. So no, the official definition for a friend is a friend with whom one has a bond of mutual affection, typically one exclusive of sexual or family relations. So anything about outside of that is a friend. So yeah, that is true. You do show affection. However, the way people show affection is different. So you're right. People have friends in a different way, but the definition of a friend still stands. You still show affection to that person outside of family and a sexual relationship, or just, I mean, you are still friends with your boyfriend, girlfriend. So yeah, I mean, sure.
Well,
But
it's like, and people can have like a distorted view of it, and that's their view, how they define it. It can be like, oh, it's just power dynamics. It's just toxicity. It's just where we actually hurt and abuse each other, and that's just like their, like, I know people that their frame of reference for friends was like, you just do really stupid stuff together, and you never talk about anything, you never open up, and it's like,
I mean, yeah.
yeah, that's just like two-dimensional, or like not knowing what the full breadth of
Yeah.
what that could be. So, but
If you,
going
if
back
you don't
to
tell your best friend to kill himself, are you really friends?
yeah, I mean, yeah, if it really, I mean, that's the big question, I think, really, at the end of the day. But you brought up morality and being a good person. Does having done bad things make you a bad person? To me, that's very loaded. Like, what is your definition of morality? How would you ground your morality in an atheist worldview?
Okay, so morality. Look, I'm gonna give you the complete scientific explanation. This could be long. I don't think it's gonna be very
Scientific
long.
explanation of morality. Interesting.
Yeah. So how morality works, right? The complete thing about evolution is a species wants to survive. That's very well known, right? Now, in the very, very early days of human civilizations, imagine you're in a group with like 5 other people, right?
Okay.
Do you think that the group of 5 without murderers and rapists would survive better than the group of 5 without those type of people?
It depends on context. If those 5 people that believed in rape and pillage and all that were able to subjugate their will on others, then it could be very beneficial for them. And the other people that didn't have that wouldn't survive because they were subjected to the people that did believe in that.
No,
So
no,
I
no.
don't
I
think.
mean, they're completely separate. Like there's
Okay,
like
in this
one guy.
hypothetical, they're
Yeah.
on an island.
Yeah. So on the left side you have like they're like 2 kilometers apart. They've never seen each other, right? In the left group you have one rapist. No, let's say one murderer. That's easier. One murderer, right? He constantly he's a psychopath. He wants to kill people and not just animals. And on the right side you have only people that are, trying to help each other, are good, good people, if you could say that. The right one is going to survive a lot better because the left side is going to have difficulties either fighting against the murderer, or the murderer is going to end up murdering someone. And that is going to leave them at a disadvantage because 4 is a lot less, survival wise than 5. If you have 4 versus a lion and then 5 versus a lion, the 5 has a higher chance of winning, definitely. So where morality comes from even animals have their own sense of morality. Now, us humans, we evolved using our own brain. We started making random tools, we developed fire, we found out how things worked, and then we didn't need muscles anymore. We didn't need to, have an insane stamina. We still do, because some people still train them and stuff, but it's not like the ancient days, as you could call it. So morality stems from how good would you be in a survival situation if you were a murderer? And the murderers didn't survive all that well because they were murderers. So
it comes down to utilitarianism. Like if it gives us certain results, then it's moral, or if it doesn't give us those results, then it's immoral.
I'll get to that. Back then, yes. However,
back then, yes, but then it changed somewhere. You're gonna keep going, but that's
it's gonna make a bit more sense in a bit. Don't worry. So I didn't study this, of course. I'm just explaining what I've heard. So this could very much be wrong, but I'm just telling you. Now, after a while, these humans we evolved using our brain, so we started making actual cultures. We developed, like the ancient Egyptians thought of gods like Anubis and Midget and gods like that.
A midget?
No, Midget, I think it's called. So midget.
Yes. I
So
didn't know anybody believed in the midget deity. I didn't realize that.
yeah. So at that point, when you're in this very big society, right? And the thing about murder, like we used our brains. So the act of murder, since we are also built in with empathy, because that's how we help each other survive. When you kill someone and you don't feel empathy, you definitely have something wrong with you, because that's what a psychopath basically is.
What I mean, I know I can keep going, but let you keep going. But I mean, like you said, this was going to be like the scientific explanation, and to me, this sounds like a lot of like world building, like myth making. Still, like it's hypotheticals of I know you said it changed. To me, I would like to just I'll keep harping on like the philosophical points of it, because if morality can change, or if we evolve to a certain point and we, evolution selected for these certain things, and now we like either retroactively call them moral, or maybe we created morality or something like that. I still don't see how you could get out of all these different problems. Like you'd have to say evolution selected for psychopathy. You'd have to say evolution selected for rape and murder and all these things that we, from a human perspective, modern day would say is immoral. But
why?
Because if we all evolved and we survived, then rape would be selected for, because it helps you be more physically evolutionarily fit. You pass on your genes to more people, therefore surviving more.
Yeah, and that's kind of also why rape is still a thing. But the thing about morality is that used to be a very important factor in the ancient days, but now we just think like evolution is very, very hard to catch us now. Like, for example, in the ancient days, a few 100,000 years ago, if you were born with a handicap, you were dead. There was no way you could survive. Now, if you are born with a handicap, you have hospitals, you have antibiotics, you have all the help you need to survive, and maybe even pass those genes. Like evolution.
I mean, there's evolutionists that say that's wrong, that we shouldn't allow those weak people to survive, because that's going to make the species weaker.
I mean, it kind of is, but the thing.
So is it immoral to allow them to survive and reproduce? Is that immoral?
It would be, because, well, the thing about moral, it used to be completely about, the survivability, but now as we are more socially evolved than other species, we kind of gave it our own spin on it, and now we decide for our own what is moral and what is not.
So is it objective, or is it just social construct subjective? Did we create morality, or does it exist independent of us?
It used to be independent of us, and now it's subjective. But
so would you say there is, so the survival of the fittest, whatever passes on your genes is the objective morality, and now we've created a subjective morality as like a layer 2 on top of that?
Yes, pretty much. That's how, like, the very obvious things like murder, rape, we still think those are absolutely horrible. Duh. Like pedophilia.
Well, not
also,
quite duh. Not quite duh. I mean, just because you you and I agree on those things, but it can be a difficulty in having these discussions is if I say, can you give me a reason why those things are wrong? A common atheist response, you haven't done this, I'm not accusing you, but a common atheist response is, what, you saying those things are good? No, just because you and I disagree, if you and I have completely different reasons for why those are wrong, I'm questioning your reason.
Yeah.
But why would those things be wrong? Just because we've progressed past that, we've moved, we have medicine? What is how can we justify the layer 2?
The reason why murder is wrong is because just imagine you're just walking and then you hear that your mom is dead, murdered.
Okay.
You would be absolutely sobbing. You would fucking hate the guy that did that, right? You'd be absolutely scared shitless, or at least crying your eyes out. Now, like, I'm not saying that this is for everyone, but the innate sense of killing someone goes against the nature of humans already. Second,
So, but I mean, again, I could keep stopping because all these things, like, I can let you keep going, but all of these things, to me, that there's questions. They're like the nature of humans.
yeah,
Is there such thing as human nature? Is it universal? Do you believe in materialism? Is there only such thing as materialism, or are there things that are immaterial?
I mean, as far as I know, there is only material. I've never seen anything immaterial, so I'm not going to go out of my way and say that it's real without having. Also,
But
sorry,
you just appeal to something that's not material.
like what?
Human nature.
Yeah, that is material because it's, the morals, they are human nature. That's like
Can you put human nature in my hand or under a microscope?
No, but the chemicals that allow, the empathy to go to you when you kill your own species, that is pretty much obvious. Like, human nature is just the word for something humans do.
So we made it up, or is there objective human nature? Because nature to me is immaterial. It doesn't mean it's non-existent, but we can't look at it like we can look at blades of grass.
I mean, no, that's true, but like the same thing for air. Just because you don't see it, and like if I say air, you can be like, okay, yeah, I don't see it. Is it immaterial? Like, I mean, it's
well, that's a different. I would still say that's something invisible, but it's still under the category of physical, right?
Yeah,
so I get your point, but I would still
yeah,
I'd still challenge that, right?
Yeah, that was the wrong thing to get up.
I understand that
some
jump
things,
though, because it's something unseen, right? So
yeah, something like that.
Would you say you're a nominalist, or would you believe in universals?
I'm gonna be very honest. I am not familiar with those terms. I just
okay. Gotcha. Yeah, I'll try to keep it in natural language, but nominalism basically means that there's no such thing as universals. You can't make universal claims, which to me is self-defeating in itself, because nominalism is a universal claim that there's no such thing as universals. Like, there's no such thing as a platonic form of chair, for instance. There's only the specific individual instantiations of chair. This chair doesn't have chairness. It's just chair. It's just a chair. Dogs don't have dogness. They're just dogs. The flowers don't have, yellowness or anything like that. There's no higher universal. So if a nominalist wouldn't believe that there's such thing as human nature, because that's a universal claim that we'd all have the same thing we can appeal to as human nature. And I would say, as a evolutionist, I wouldn't from an evolutionary understanding, I wouldn't know how you justify human nature if it's all in flux and we're all constantly evolving. How would we know that we have the same nature itself?
Well,
when our nature be evolving? Would there
our
be...
nature is definitely evolving.
Okay, so is there multiple human natures? This was a justification for a lot of atrocities and racism and eugenics. Okay, there's the blacks nature. There's the white's nature, the red man's nature. All of these
Um,
ways of classifying, and you can look at the history of the politics around evolution, and it's a lot of eugenics and things like that.
the thing is, basically, black people, Asian people, and white people, we are the same species. If you look at their skeleton of any of those races, they're the exact same thing. Their race is definitely just a social construct, and of course, yeah, they look different, but they're still the same species. However, it is human nature, again, to, when something doesn't look like you, like, for example, when this is gonna sound racist, but it's kind of what humans do. When you go outside and someone looks a bit different than you, your automatic response, not for everyone, but the automatic response for some people is, oh, they're not the same as me. Let's not interact with that or interact with them. And that was very key to our survival a lot of years ago, because oh, they're from a different tribe, but let's not talk to them because they could try to kill me.
Might be that one of those 5 people who are rapist murderers.
That could also be a thing. Yes, it's just having anxious thoughts of being paranoid. Those are all things that could potentially help. Being scared of the darkness, that's also something that we learned. If you weren't scared of the darkness back then, you would be eaten alive by a wolf. Maybe not the first night or the second, but maybe the third. But yeah, things like that. And that's kind of sad because of course they saw black people and they were like, yeah, they're not human because look, they're not the same as us, but they are, and they're also people. But they just looked at it from the perspective of, yeah, we are all white and you're black, so you're not the same. We're better.
Right. I mean, that's where evolution kind of was birthed. The original title of the has lost it. Sorry. The I don't know why my brain just flushed down the toilet. All my thoughts. It was the Darwin's book. So gosh, can somebody help me? Why is my brain just turned off? It's the favored races, something, the favored races. Somebody help me. Why'd my brain stop?
Something like that. I have not looked at.
Oh my gosh, I can. The cover of my copy is in my head, but I can't think of it. The pigs. Logan, help me out. Why is my brain dumb?
Oh hey.
Sorry, this is Logan. Logan, what's the title of Darwin's book? Why can't I think of it?
On the Origin of Species?
Yes, my gosh, I couldn't think of it. On the Origin of Species or the favored races. He believed that the white Anglo-Saxons were the superior race.
Yeah, I'm not as familiar with that one, but I do know the eugenics movement of the early 20th century was largely based on Darwin's theories.
Darwin's theories are not used anymore in modern evolution.
I know.
Yeah, okay, cool. By the way, I'm gonna wait, what was your name? Logan?
Yes, my name is Logan. Nice to meet you, Alex.
Yeah, nice to. I'm very bad with names. I'm sorry.
Oh, it's all good. I am too.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, they had disabilities, but I'm gonna be honest. Was there ever a thing with epilepsy? Was there flashing lights back then?
Well, I mean, fire behaved pretty erratically.
Definitely not like the digital lights that we have with LEDs.
Yeah, no, it wasn't nearly as severe now, but there are records of Caesar having epileptic seizures.
Yeah, of course. And, I mean, he did get stabbed 26 times, but
that sucks.
It definitely was not a good day for him. But
he should have been more evolutionary fit, dude.
I mean, fit is just fitting in your environment, and he had epilepsy, so I mean, that's.
I don't know what environment is. Epilepsy is makes you evolve for. Like, oh man, I'm so glad I have epilepsy right now. I just fit right into this environment.
The thing about evolution is it doesn't know what it wants. It's not a sentient being. It just evolves. It just does. It just mutates.
A process.
Yeah, it's just a process. It mutates things. It can go always. It can go bad. It can do nothing, and it can go good. The people with epilepsy nowadays, they have medicine and treatment. I'm not completely in on epilepsy. I don't know a lot about it because I'm not a doctor. I have not studied on it. but I know that there are things against it. Back then, you know, like Caesar did have seizures, and apparently he did survive because, you know, otherwise he wouldn't have
There's
died. too
definitely like a tongue twister somewhere there. Caesar had
Caesar
seizures
had
down by the
seizures.
seashore.
Caesar had, yeah.
Caesar had seizures captured by sea pirates on the seashore.
Someone asked if evolution is a force. No, it's not. It's just a name we call the process. If like, have you ever
It's like
studied
how you believe in human nature. It's not
a
a
thing?
universal thing. It's something that
yeah,
we construct with our words.
yeah, exactly.
So-
Just like how I can't come to like an actual like thing right now, but there are words that like aren't actual things, but we call it that.
My chickens are fighting. They're trying to figure out which one's most evolutionary fit right now. You hear them
Huey.
going crazy. Not even Huey. It's just one hand beating up on the other.
Oh,
So
are they fighting
again,
over Huey?
no, Huey's not even over here. I don't know where Huey is.
Oh.
But I've got chickens. Anyways, Alex, you mentioned being a good person again, and morality. Do you believe morality is so you have your layer 1, that's evolutionary fitness, right? Some kind of whatever it is you can do to survive. But
Yeah.
now things are easier, so we have level 2 morality on top of that.
Yes.
Do you believe that that is case by case of culture, or is there a universal level 2 where things are actually immoral and moral in every society, or does it depend on society?
I mean, it depends on the society, I would say, because not every single place has the exact same rules. Like, for example, here in Belgium, I can start drinking alcohol when I'm 18. But in the USA, that's age 21, and that's like, yeah, you're not, it's not good for you at 18 or some like it's not an actual moral.
Would
But
it be immoral for a country to make the legal drinking age 5?
yes,
Why?
we know that it's not good for the growing of kids, because there's a lot of things going on at that age that involves with learning words, learning different pattern recognition, for example. That's a very key part in early development, things like that. And if you add alcohol to that, those things can be slowed and halted. So it would be immoral for us to, like, on purpose ruin someone's life, like a lot of lives actually, just because we're like, yeah, alcohol is fine, don't worry about it, things like that.
What
and
if
that
the reason? What if the people came up with reasoning? And this is a hypothetical, just like you're, everybody's on an island and there's a murderer. What if we came up with a reasoning like, oh, the world is so bad now, or there's world is so full of so much harm and suffering that we want to give these children alcohol and sedatives so they cannot feel all of these negative emotions, all of this harm and hurt. We want them to be sedated so they aren't subjected to that. Would it become moral if we had some kind of reason to do so?
No, and not
So,
because
so it's not by the society's reasoning. So you're saying there's an objective standard outside of a societal reasoning.
Yeah, but well, look, the thing is, we are a society and we made rules. Like, we didn't make all the rules, but the center of morality is, is it good for us or the person it's about? I think you would agree, right? For example, murder,
Maybe, but I mean, still, like good is. I would question that too, and I know that might make me sound like I'm being pedantic, but still, that sounds like a loaded term because do we agree on what's good? And even if we agree on the good, do we have the same reasons?
Yeah. Look. So the thing is, if I don't know, if did you ask a question? I just don't know, kind of.
So you said that. Trying to backtrack a little bit. You said morality is based upon what is good for the individual.
Like for
And
the victim in the situation, for example,
right,
murder.
and I questioned how can we know what is good or not? How can we determine what is the good?
Well, now, if you look at it from a very broad perspective, if we have 8 billion people, if one person dies, or gets murdered, that's not going to affect society whatsoever. It's going to affect the family, though. It's definitely going to affect them. It's still a terrible thing, not because society is going to fall and crumble when you do it, but because it's just you're hurting people on purpose, either knowingly or unknowingly. And we made laws about these morals, like murder and rape and things like that, to make sure that the people that aren't actually, like, for example, psychopaths, they don't have empathy. So when they kill someone or do something bad to someone, they don't feel the same pain that we would feel if we killed another human being.
So, but that's, we're using these terms I'm trying to put into question and try to pin down your perspective on. So you said that somebody who is a sociopath or psychopath is going to inflict pain on someone else, and that's bad. Why is pain bad? Or inflicting pain on somebody else? Why would that be bad?
I mean, if you look at it from a completely materialistic view, because like I can't go, yeah, because God said so. Like that's just too simple to me. Like if I had an answer for that every single time someone asked me a question, I would. If you asked me, for example, like, hey, like, this is a very cool thing. Do you know what it is? And I would be like, no, but God probably did it. Like, I want to know the ins and outs of everything. And I'm not, I'm not what do you call people that study the brain and chemicals? Psychology? Yeah, or that.
Psychology.
Yeah, psychologists. Like, I'm not that. I have not studied it. Like, there is definitely an innate reason why hurting someone causes you to feel pain yourself or empathy. I don't know it. Does that mean that there isn't a reason, or does that mean that having pain being bad does that mean that, oh, now it's automatically a god, or now it's automatically something that otherworldly created that notion? Not necessarily. Just because I don't know what.
And I'm not trying to make that argument that just if you don't have a grounding for morality in this case, that therefore my position is true. But I'm putting into question that, like, you and I both agree that murder is wrong.
Yes.
But what is your reasoning versus my reasoning, and is that consistent? Because with you having the foundation of evolutionary biology, and then you put this layer 2 on top of it, and you did say that it is subject to societies because we have different laws and varying places, but you do seem to want to have this leaning towards an objective that's not just human based, because it has to do with harming somebody, and that's bad. And then when I say, why is that bad, you said, well, it's not like I have to say there's a God for it to be bad, but it's still like, why should I believe your position, or why your reasons for that being bad is what I'm trying to get at. So
yeah. I'm sorry if I don't know the answer like right at the get go. It's 12:30 a.m.
Oh, it's okay. And I'm not like I said, I wasn't trying to do like a formal debate where I'm going to get you or whatever. I'm just having a conversation, man.
Yeah, of course,
Because
no,
it sounds contradictory to me. It's hard for me to go, okay, let's go your evolutionary perspective, survival of the fittest. You do, and then you have like the random genetic selecting, but it's about passing your genes, and those who pass on their genes are the most fit and all that. But then saying the people that are being removed from the gene pool by a murder, that's immoral for them to do it. Wouldn't it be just evolution doing its thing, that evolution has selected for us to murder each other in certain cases because I want to take your stuff, or you killed my father, so I'm getting revenge? How would that escape being evolutionary selected for? Just because now we as modern people say that doesn't feel good, I don't like that, that's harmful. Why is that objectively bad? And instead of just how do you escape relativism is really what I'm trying to get. How do you escape relativism? Because if it's relative, then it's not real.
Yeah, does it have to be objective for it to be a thing?
If it is relative and not objective, then it was created, and then it can be changed if it was created. So that's like my argument with math too. So
that was created. Time is relative.
I would say that time exists independent of us, but we have created language and concepts to try to understand time. Like if we If Alex, if you and I cease to exist, if every human died, would time still go on, or would it cease with us?
I mean, that's a very specific question. Where? Because time moves slower around, for example, a black hole compared to where we are. If I went on a rocket ship, right, and I flew at light speed, which is physically impossible, but if it was possible, and I did that, and I flew away, for me it would be like 11 minutes. For you, it would be at least 20 or 30 years that have passed.
Right.
Time will move, like our bodies will still age, but depending on your standpoint, time moves slower or faster, and that's just because we base time around our knowledge of, okay, so what is in the past, what is in the future, and why are we getting older? Because the year is something we also made up. Of course, yeah, one rotation around the sun. But what if we chose 2 rotations? Then our age would be cut in half. Like, yeah, you can live to 50 years now.
Well, we're still going to die in the same amount of time. It's just being measured with a different yardstick, correct?
Yeah.
So that's what I'm trying. But you said earlier that we created time, and it sounds like after some explanation that you're saying our view of time is created because we're trying to put words and language and semantics to these things. But what I'm trying to get at is that it's independent of us, right? Like, do you believe that we created logic, or did logic is that independent of us?
That's a very tricky question. I'm not even gonna lie, because
Yeah, it's okay, man.
Logic is this thing where, as I'm pretty sure every single animal has logic in a sense. A cat isn't going to jump off of a fucking skyscraper because it knows
Sometimes I've seen it. I've seen videos.
sometimes, but most won't, because they know that it's gonna end in death. Logic is something. If you look
Well,
at
do they
it,
know? Does a cat know that it's going to end in death, or does it just have an instinct to avoid certain things?
I'm pretty sure it has an instinct, but it could
Right.
also
Would the
know.
instinct be the same as knowledge of death?
I mean, yeah, I'm using the bad terminology here.
That's okay.
I'm not a cat. I don't know what the cat knows. I don't know anything.
You don't have
But-
essence of catness. You don't have cat nature.
Exactly. I mean, some people apparently do nowadays, but that's
Oh
that's
God, don't get into that. Oh no, man.
Yeah.
This is why all these conversations matter. Is there objective reality? Is there something about human nature that we can control and move and adjust and force evolution? Or is it static and we have human nature, we possess it, but we can't change it because we didn't create it? Is it independent of us? All this stuff I'm trying to get at is
technically we could force evolution.
So like if we created logic, for instance, then it's a creation, we can adjust it. But every time if we try to adjust logic, let's just take one of the laws of logic, the law of identity. If I try to change the law of identity, then it leads to absurdity, because you can't. The law of identity is A equals A. If I say A equals not A, then that's self-defeating. So you can't change logic. So did we create it? Did we discover it? Was it independent of us? Will it be there after we're gone?
I mean, logic is something we created, but
well, if it's created, why can't we change it?
Because not everything you create is like we created logic, like not like. Okay, this is very difficult to explain. Logic is not something we created without laws, right? When you say like for example math, that is also a tricky thing because of the philosophical
it's all good.
Philosophical yeah, the philosophical terminology, like on math, it's still a debate whether it's an invention or something we discovered, because math, like if we use different numbers, would we still have the same things that we have today? But yeah, that's a different tangent.
I mean, to me, it's very clearly discovered and not created. And again, I would go back to the same argument of, if it was created, then why can't I create a new system of it? Why can't I say 2 + 2 = fish? Because if I created it, if humans created it, it's a construct. There'd be no reason that we couldn't change it. But math is a derivative of logic, and we can't change logic either.
The thing with math is, it's just, again, we found it out in nature. If you say one fish and another fish, that's never going to equal to 3 fish. You will always have 2 fish because that's how that works. If you want to do division or times, those are things that are a bit more advanced. And then humans decided, how advanced can it actually go? And then they said, fuck every single student that's going to ever go to school, and I'm going to make this as difficult as I possibly can. And they did, because now we have Pythagoras' theorem for a squared plus b squared equals c squared, things like that. Those are things that we made up, but also discovered at the same time because, it's either a coincidence or it was always meant to be like that. That's a philosophical question that can never have a real answer unless you die and you meet God or you meet nothing.
Right, because it can't be both, right?
I mean,
you can't die and meet God and also not meet God, right? It had to be one or the other.
I think so. I don't know. We don't know what happens after death. It could be literally anything. I could wake up next to a unicorn farting in universes. I wouldn't know. But I will never say that I know something if I don't know, because that's lying.
Right.
Like, I don't know. It's a very difficult question, and that's a very philosophical thing, and I like thinking about it, but it's not something you can answer with, yeah, we definitely invented it, because then, as you said, you could change it, but you can also not change it because we are the ones that also made the rules around it. Like, 1 plus 1.
Like, what did the argue? Because to me, I'm not trying to be. You could try to keep it into this perspective that us talking about this philosophical question of did we invent math? Did we invent logic? You could say it's all speculation because we can't really know. But I'm asking, is there certain logical necessities? Would it be logically consistent to say that we discovered it, or is it logically consistent to say that we invented it? I know there's people that have different answers, but to me, there has to be an answer, right? It can't just be, I don't know.
I mean,
some people will say like it's such a big question, I don't know how to. How could it be both, that we discovered something that we invented? I mean, that sounds like.
I mean, it's a very.
How can it be both?
It could be both in the sense that, yeah, it was already there because, one thing plus another thing is equal to 2 things. But we are also the ones that created the thing math. Like, if we never invented math, we would never discover it as well, if you know what I mean. If we never went, oh yeah, 1 plus 1 is equal to 2, and 2 times 2 is equal to 4, and if I divide these 4 by, other 4, then everyone gets 1. If we never did that, we would never have discovered math, ever.
I get what you're saying, but I it's kind of like how we were talking about, friendship and religion and worship and all that stuff, where let's try to focus on the terms and try to follow through with what they mean so we can push the conversation. So to me, if it was discovered, that means it's something outside of us, that's independent of us, that exists whether humans exist or not. If it was something we invented, it's something that came from us, that is subject to change because it's our creation, and it's the question is if it's internal or external. And to me, we can talk about it a lot, but it to be able to have an answer to that, it comes down to your worldview and how you actually look at the world. Because like a nominalist will be forced to say, if they're going to be consistent, and again, nominalism just means you don't believe in universals. A nominalist will have to say that we invented it because they don't believe in anything that's outside of us, objective in the world in that way. So like you brought up earlier, like 1 fish, 2 fish, 3 fish, blue fish, all that. If a nominalist sees 2 fish, where is 2 in that? Where do you get this concept of 2?
Well, you see, that's like, it's very difficult to even explain the number 2 to someone that wouldn't know what the number 2 means. It's just, if you have one thing and you have another thing, then you have 2 things.
Right.
That's
how a nominalist would explain it. He said a nominalist would say there is no such thing as 2. There's only 1 two. I can point to these different things, and I'm just arbitrarily grouping them together as two. It's because of me and my perspective that this is emerging. That two-ness is only being brought about because of my perspective. Two-ness, the concept of two, doesn't exist independent of me, is what a nominalist would say.
Damn, that's weird.
Right? Isn't that? But like a classic example is you have 7 coconuts, you put them in a pile. Where is the number 7? Can you hand me the number 7? All you can do is say, well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 coconuts. It's a example. It's an instantiation of the concept of 7, but those are just individual things we are putting in a category. There's nothing about them inherently that brings about 7 other than us viewing it in that way from a nominalist perspective. But to us, we would say that there is such a thing as 7. It's a logical necessity that there's such a thing as 7, and that these just are an instantiation of that. Just like how I have human nature and you have human nature, there's something independent of both of us called human nature that you and I both possess. But me, Wesley, right here, Westford, I am not human nature. If you killed me, human nature would still exist, and it'd have other instantiations outside of me. But a nominalist would have to say there's no such thing as human nature, or if there is, there's only specific instantiations of it. And if you killed every human, then there would be no human nature outside of all those people that possess it in that way.
Yeah, it's very difficult because, like, if I gave you 7 coconuts, you would know that it's 7 coconuts because you can count yourself. However, in, for example, a different place, like a very, like, there is this island, I'm pretty sure, where there are actually still tribes people. I'm not
there
sure.
are,
Yeah, they threw spears at a helicopter, I'm pretty sure.
Yep, and like Protestant missionaries have gone and tried to evangelize, and then they get eaten, like literally
Yeah.
eaten.
Yeah, if I told them, give me 7 coconuts, they would probably kill me, but if they wouldn't kill me,
Does that make them immoral, though? Does that make them immoral? I mean, is it going back to your
I mean, that's back to my point
isolated?
Yeah, that's back to my point of humans sticking to their own little people, and if there's anything different than them, they're going to see it as a threat and, try and do self-defense. Because, imagine you're just walking on the street, and then out of nowhere, a guy you've never seen, we've all been white. You've never seen a black guy. All of a sudden, a black guy comes there.
I don't know if you know this, but I'm black, so let's be careful with our words here, right? And we're in mixed company. Go on.
Yeah, no, like, you've never seen them. You walk on the street, all of a sudden.
Can you say those people? Can you say you've never seen those people, please? This is how I want you to say it, please.
You've never seen those people, like.
Okay, yeah. What? Okay, come on. Yeah,
There's
you never seen those people. Come on.
Yeah, and they, all of a sudden, in a language you've never heard before, ask something of you or do something. You would be terrified. Like, I would be. I have no clue what he's trying to say. Like, we know I'm asking for 7 coconuts. For all they know, I could, be chanting a curse on them because they don't have any knowledge of what my language is or what I'm asking, or even if I'm asking a question. I don't know. It's a weird thing of, are they moral? Because to them they are. They think it's completely justified to kill someone that's not in their tribe. They have nothing to say on our society. They have no clue what we're doing. But to us, it's like, why would you do that? We are the same species. But they don't know that. They saw a helicopter and they threw spears at it, thinking it would kill it because they thought it was an animal. Like,
Right.
Things like that are just, it's a hard thing. But like, what I was trying to say is, asking them 7 coconuts, and if they wouldn't kill me, they'd, be like, what is 7? They would have their own word for it, maybe even. They would have their own language and they wouldn't even know what a coconut is, maybe. They've never seen it before. Like, we discovered it, but we also created it at the same time, but it's...
Well, we created language to put labels and identifiers on the thing. We created reference, but the referent is what we created, the thing that we use to reference the thing. Hopefully I said those terms right, but we created the thing that we use to reference other thing. If I say apple, that's not an apple, right? It's me referencing the thing I'm referencing.
Yeah. Yeah, true. I mean, it's still a very philosophical question, and it's not something that I am going to have an answer for you because I simply don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad that you are willing to have the humility to say that, man.
I mean, isn't that kind of what being honest is about? Just saying, if you
I'd
don't
like
know,
to
you
think
don't
so.
know. Like
I'd like to think so.
I'm an atheist. I don't say there isn't a God. I'm just saying I don't know. I don't think I believe in it. Like you have like I'm gonna be honest. I have a feeling, and I'm not sure because I'm not every single atheist on the world, but usually atheism goes hand in hand with agnosticism.
They
I
usually are. It's seems to be a bit of a disposition of the heart is, like how it makes somebody an atheist versus an agnostic. Some are just more militant or more sure, and others are
yeah, some
less
are
certain. I think
there
they
are
have a lot of the same issues or a lot of the same starting points, but yeah, definitely different attitudes typically.
there are a lot of people that say there's definitely no God, and even I will say, how do you know that?
Right. Well, that's good of
Because
you to say that. That's good of you to say that.
like I do not believe that Christ is a god purely because I've seen a few things in the Bible and I don't want to get into that right now.
Yeah.
But we could sometime other time, but I don't believe in it and that's perfectly fine. If it turns out I was wrong and I'm willing to accept that. But it's just a thing of you can never say I'm sure that Christ is God or I'm sure that there is no God. Those are things that you cannot be sure of. You can have faith that there is no God. Well, no. You can have faith that there is a God, or you can just say, I don't know, or you can say, I don't believe that there is a God. You cannot say, I know that there isn't a God. And I'm pretty much both an agnostic and an atheist. Like I don't believe in a God, but I also am not sure if there is a God. It could be the Christian God. It could also be Allah. It could be any God that we've ever thought of, or it could be even a God that we've never even thought of. It could be a God that prefers atheists for all we know. It could be anything. These are just like things that we don't know, and it's just what does positive versus soft atheism mean? I just
I don't
so
know.
many.
I think he's saying positive would be like I know that there's no God,
Oh,
and
yeah.
soft would be like I don't believe in God. Something like
there
that.
There we go. It can't be Allah though. Why? Why not?
Well, to me, I would attack that with looking at it is the belief of Islam. And this is a whole other tangent that would take a while, but in short, the cliff notes would be: does the belief in Allah and Islam, is that internally consistent? If it's internally consistent, doesn't necessarily make it true, but if it's not consistent, then we can write it off as something absurd. And there's lots of problems of the belief in Islam. They believe that he is eternally creating, so therefore he doesn't have free will. And if he created people that have free will, how could he create something that has free will when he himself doesn't possess that? There's the problem of the one and the many, which the Trinity does not have, because and I'm just gonna finish the thought real quick. I know if it's a whole other subject, but the Trinity doesn't have the problem that Allah does, because the Trinity has the three different people, the three different persons of the Godhead that internally love each other, and they don't have to create an object for them to love. So that's how the Christian God can be love, without having the need to create. Where if, let's say, the Islamic Allah God, if they claim that he's love, but he's the only thing that exists pre-creation, then what is his object of love? It could only be himself, and there'd be self-love, and narcissism would be the only way they'd be able to claim that he's love, because it'd be necessary for him to create an object of his love outside of himself.
Yeah, the thing is, the book does not define the God. Like, it could also very well be that the book is completely wrong, but that Allah is actually the God, but that the humans just didn't write the Quran correctly. It could also be that the Christian God is the correct one, but that, some things in the Bible are just completely wrong. Like, it could be that the humans were like, I heard God say this, but it was actually not God that said it, or something like that.
From my perspective, it's much more of a full package worldview thing, where you kind of have to take everything in Christianity or leave it. But then when you have the attitude that you can pick and choose, or some of it's right and some of it's wrong, then you have like the fractured nature of Protestantism, which is, if you don't like what the preacher's saying, you don't like how he's reading a verse, you can go start your own church and teach the exact opposite thing down the street. There's no central authority. There's no nothing that binds you.
Yeah.
And from my perspective, we have the same unchanged Christian worldview that Christians have had for the last 2,000 years as an Orthodox Christian. But I mean, yeah, these are opening up tons of other topics. But hey, Alex, it's really good to have you on. Thanks for being a good faith, pun intended, interlocutor. So, yeah, you're welcome on anytime, and hope that you.
Yeah, I do want to say one more thing. Please don't call atheism a religion, because
Does that hurt your fifis?
Yeah, kind of. It's just not, and a lot of atheists will call you out on it. And next,
do you have like a negative connotation of religion? Is it like religion is always bad, or what's the problem with? What's the problem with being a religion?
It's not necessarily that religion is bad. It's just you're calling atheism something that it is not. If you said atheism isn't, like, for example, if you said the title of the thing is just like atheism is not a good way of thinking, or something like that, there would be nothing wrong with that sentence. Not because what you're saying is correct or anything, but because you said atheism is not the correct way of thinking, and that's your opinion. But saying atheism is a false religion, you're mixing your opinion with something that isn't real. You're basically making a straw man, because atheism isn't a religion.
Well, I would agree, and I would say that atheists do not claim that they themselves are religion, and they would not agree with that. But I put it into question of, are they correct in that? Is my position. Where I would say that, like I said earlier, I don't think you guys believe in a deity, obviously, but to me, there are many aspects of religion and dogma and faith that the majority of atheists hold, and then there's obviously like deviations and attitudes and different things that they believe, but I think they have core tenets, like the ones seems to me the core dogmas of atheism are determinism, materialism, and empiricism. So I would say that those are like the core unquestioning axioms of atheism, and you could say that they're religious in the fact that they take those at face value and they run with it on faith.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna be honest. I don't think I've used faith. Like, you can make the argument of, oh yeah, do you think your mom is going to kill you? I've heard that a lot of times. I don't want to get into that right now. It's too late to even think about faith. But the thing is, you can call it a religion, but it's not, because religion is like, it's just the very much, how do I say this? It's when you believe in a deity, or something, or like having a strong belief or worship of a deity or something. I don't worship science. I don't have this innate sense of, I need to believe science. I just need to understand it, because science, if you understand science, you understand the life. I'm not going to tell people, hey, go follow science, or you're not a good person, or something like that. I'm it's too late for me to actually make up sentences.
That's okay. Do you think is Buddhism a religion?
I genuinely have no idea. I've never looked at it.
That's okay. There's lots of atheistic non-deity worshiping groups that people would commonly call a religion, such as Buddhism. So I would point to that as would it be okay to call atheism a non-deity worshiping religion? I mean, like, if it has everything about a religion except a deity, then is it still a religion, or is it that one variable that creates it to be not a religion?
I mean, the thing is, the religion. Wait, what?
So if let's say there's 100 things that make something a religion, it has 99. Do we get to say it's not a religion because it has one variable that makes it?
I mean,
if I have a dog, if I have a cat, I literally have a cat that doesn't have a tail. Does that mean she's not a cat because she lacks one quality of catness?
No,
Everdeen.
But the thing is, like, did you just do the? Okay, so if you
need more water. or beer or
if,
something.
if you like look at religion, right? The worship and belief in a deity or something. Like if you look at Christianity as a whole, of course, there are going to be differences in beliefs, differences in how they look at it, but every single Christian has one core thing, and that is the worship and belief in Jesus Christ. I would assume at least.
So to unpack that a little bit. So from my Orthodox understanding, which I believe and I claim is the ancient understanding, not a modern understanding, the way that I would look at worship is totally different than Protestants, especially like let's say an evangelical. And this is where evangelical will take issue with me because we have these things called icons, which are images of holy people and of Jesus Christ. And they would say that I'm an idol worshiper because I have these images.
Oh damn! You got a $20 super apparently.
I did. Oh, I should check these things. Thank you guys, and thank you, Alex. But yeah, I'll get into those here in a second. And yeah, if anybody wants to donate, we are at 41% of the way there to monetization.
Do I get 50% of that?
Yeah, I mean, I guess so. Just hit me up. Give me your Cash App, and
I don't have Cash App. Damn it.
Yeah, I've been told it doesn't work like across countries or something. But
I just don't have it. I use PayPal usually.
Oh, I gotcha.
No, but like I'm not gonna beg for money. Don't worry. I
it's all good, man.
I'm a
you have my
broke
friendship now. That's how I'm paying. You were friends now.
Let's go.
What was I saying? Oh yeah. So Protestants, to my perspective, they would not worship Jesus Christ. They would venerate him, show him honor, praise him, but they wouldn't worship him because we have a totally different understanding of worship. So that's why, from my
and that's why
perspective,
definitions are very important because you have a
Right.
different look at what worship is, but if you look at the definition, you know, at what point is something worship? That is something that
yeah, to us, worship is specifically like it has to do with the Eucharist. So when we participate in consuming the body and blood of Jesus Christ, we are entering into the body of Christ. We are communing with him. It has to do with communion. To us, that is central to worship. But many Protestants don't believe in the literal body and blood of Jesus Christ and the Eucharist. They just have this kind of flattened out, I sing to you and I praise you and I say I love you and I think about you and I pray to you. And they would say that's worship. To us, that's closer to what we would say is veneration, honoring something. So that's why they would look at us honoring saints and say we're worshiping them because they view veneration or honoring as worship. And to us, it's like worship's here and veneration is here. I can venerate God, but the veneration isn't equal to worship.
Maybe that's why you would think, well, not necessarily you, but for example, the evangelist, whatever.
The evangelifish.
Yeah, that would call atheism a religion because we just really like science.
Right.
I'm a nerd. I love science.
Yeah, you honor it. You honor Isaac Newton, and you venerate these people.
They think we worship it, but no, I don't worship it. I love it. I do definitely spend my spare time, doing some chemistry or doing something. So I don't know, or gaming. That's also a thing I do.
What do you play? What do you play?
God, now you're asking something. So
Are we friends? Come on.
I played Sims 4 not too long ago. I do Yu-Gi-Oh.
Do you spend your time like creating like an atheist family that goes and tortures all the Christians? Is that what you're into? You sick? I'm just kidding.
Yes. No. I actually just made a Sims 4 because I really wanted to have a feel of what being an adult is like and living with my girlfriend. I'm actually not gonna lie. Or damn, Marvel's Midnight Suns is apparently free now. Okay, cool.
I don't even know what that is.
Me neither. Chivalry 2, I played a little bit. Farming Simulator 22 is something that I played a lot.
All the simulation games crack me up, like lawn mowing simulator. I'm like, dude, I don't want to do it in real life. Doing it in real life's got to be better. You feel the sun and smell the grass, but you just do
the thing
4,000 hours in mowing the lawn simulator. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, the thing about Farming Simulator is like I don't have like 300,000 euros that I can use to actually buy a tractor.
Right.
But no, it's just fun to play with friends. Like those are games that you don't have to. It was free anyway. It's a game where you can play whatever you want to do. Like it's just a game where you can chat. You can basically turn off your brain and just get the crops, sell them at the perfect time, etc. It's just fun. Also Minecraft, duh.
Oh yeah, Minecraft's good.
Amazing.
It's crazy to see like all the Zoomers like talk. I don't know how old you are. I'm 29.
I'm 19.
19. Okay, so yeah, Zoomer. I started playing Minecraft in, I think it was high school. It came out. I was like a freshman in high school, like 14 or 15 or something like that.
I was 8.
That's crazy. Yeah. So I've been playing it for on and off for almost 15 years now or something. And I don't play it anywhere as much. I used to play it a lot. And I hear people talk about it now. I'm like, I don't even understand a thing you're saying. So many updates I haven't played in 5-6 years.
So many updates and they add nothing.
It's like I may have played it for more hours, but you know it more than I do.
Yeah. I mean, I do play with my girlfriend. I usually add some anime mods to it to add to the action, because anime is amazing. It's
a whole other rabbit hole. It's a whole other rabbit hole.
Why?
I mean, I like certain animes. I've watched Death Note a couple times through. I've enjoyed Attack on Titan. But I mean, I have a problem with anime a little bit. Not that I've watched a ton. It can have a lot of filler, especially when it's following a manga and the manga is releasing much slower. That's a annoying thing. Another general critique, and this is not anime as a whole, but I feel like that genre, that medium has it a lot, where it's like starts off with a core idea, and I'm like, okay, that core idea is interesting. I'd love to see a story playing that ideas out, and they just keep tacking on more ideas. No, it's like, this is not the same story I signed up for. I mean, it might be good, but I feel like it always has that bloat of like, it has to have the twists and turns. Like Attack on Titan is that a kind of like, okay, there's these giant monsters, and then okay, now there's the serum, and it's like not necessarily bad. It's good storytelling, but
yeah,
that can be exhausting for me to feel like I'm signing up for this supernatural thing that just keeps bloating.
Attack on Titan was probably written from back to front. I'm not even gonna lie to you. But
It's pretty cohesive.
JoJo is amazing.
I haven't tried that one.
So there, to tell you how genius the creator is, in part 2, the main character is called Joseph Joestar, and he's an American, because every single main character is from a different place. So in the first one he's English, then Joseph is American, and then in the part 3 Jotaro is Japanese. So in part 2, Joseph, he's an American, but you know manga, right? Have you ever read manga?
I have read the Death Note manga. I've read other stuff. I've read some of the first, I don't know, 20 of Attack on Titan. I've read Black Butler, probably other stuff. Those are the ones that come to mind immediately.
So you know that you have to read from right to left, right?
Yep.
Yeah. But Americans and the entire rest of the world reads from left to right. There's this joke that Joseph does in the anime and in the manga where he goes, your next line is, and then he says something, and then the next thing is they actually say that, and then they're all shocked. And the reason for that is because, he's an American. He reads from left to right. So
I get pretty clever.
That's very clever. I heard that yesterday. I was like, wow, that is very good. That is very
a little meta. It's meta, but it's clever.
And I'm not gonna lie, part 2 is definitely my favorite. Part 1 is kind of boring-ish. Part 2 is very well done, and then part 3 is just a new enemy of the week, and then part 4 is back to its amazing.
Well, maybe I'll give it a chance. Right now, I've been reading a lot. I way busier than I'd like to be. But what's up?
There was someone in the comments saying something about y'all don't believe Jesus is God, and then he just got kicked or something. I don't know. His comment is no Wesley here.
Yeah, hey, there can only be one. But I trust my mods. If somebody's gonna, you can give them some space, mods. You can let them spurg in the chat a little bit if it gets to the point where he's spamming. I mean, spam was the reason I got mods in the first place. People weren't able to engage in the chat because people like we had this one guy who came in and just started doing this weird evangelical like street corner preacher, and we were like, he was making, from our perspective, a lot of really bad arguments about Christianity, and we're like, can you just engage? He's like, no, this is for the future people that are going to see this so they can see the God's message. We're like, you're weird, dude. What?
Yeah.
But hey, Alex, is there anything else you wanted to talk about? I know it's late for you. We're at 2 hours here. I'm probably gonna get off and
It
go
is
live my
1
life,
a.m.
but-
for me, and I did do an exam today.
I gotcha. Do you have school tomorrow?
No, I have an exam next Tuesday though. I have the Tetris effect right now. I don't know if you know what that is, but
You're waiting for the long skinny piece to fix all your problems?
that would be awesome. But no, I would not even want to know what the long skinny piece is. But
I don't know.
No,
Very tall man that can named Charles that puts your life in order.
Have you played Tetris before?
Yes, I have
would
played
assume.
Tetris. Yeah.
Have you played it a lot?
My wife is really good at it. She's played it more than I have, but I mean, I've all my life, maybe I played it for 15 hours. I don't know quite.
Yeah, she will absolutely know the Tetris effect. Maybe not by name, but what happens if you play it a lot, when you
can't
shut
put it
your
down.
eyes, when you shut
Okay.
your eyes, you will see Tetris in front of you, like the
Really?
blocks. Yeah, you will absolutely see that. I have the same, but with organic compounds. I looked at so many different organic compounds, like ethanol, methanol, propanol, like propan. I don't know the English names because I'm Dutch, but I see all of those. Like when I close my eyes, it's it's insane.
That's great. Do you see them moving like the game, or is it just like they're floating? Like
I mean, yeah, I have a very slight bit of autism, but that's a fucking superpower to me because I can envision something in 3D very, very well.
right.
So
I have a friend who says that they don't have the ability to see things in their mind. They can't conjure up. Like if I say picture a green apple, nothing happens. They can't picture things, is what they say. They don't have
that's
any. Isn't that
very
weird? And they read
Yeah.
they read novels. I'm like, what happened? Is it just like words on the page? You don't have like a movie playing in your head?
Yeah, like when I close my eyes and it's just isopropanol, I just see it like spinning in front of me, like how it would move in real life. I was like, oh, that explains why I know everything. That's ooh, maybe I should stop. I was walking down the street. I don't know if you've seen the notation of chemistry, like biochemistry, like the lines in like a squiggly lines and then OH or O.
Oh, not in years, but yeah.
Yeah, so there was this lamp and it had that slide thing, and I was like, oh, that's chemistry. My friend was like, dude, you have to rest. This is not healthy. That's a. No,
Yeah,
I'm gonna make a cash app for the next time we go live, and then.
So you can get paid.
Hey, I'm a 19-year-old. I need to get money where I can.
Yeah. If anybody wants to help Alex through his you guys call it university, your uni career.
We call it hogeschool, which literally translated means high school, but it's not high school.
That's strange.
It just means higher school.
Higher education.
Yeah, but it's like just higher school. It's not uni. It's like in between uni and high school. It's like a thing where if you're smart, you go to uni. But if you're like smart but don't want to have
With an asterisk.
Yeah, like if you don't want to go like I'm very bad at studying. Like you can get a graduate in, for example, a higher school, a hogeschool, and then you can get I call it college, but I don't think it's actually college. And then university is like for after you did that, or you can go straight to university, but not a lot of people do that because Oh wait, someone is Logan. You speak oh, that's probably German, isn't it? Hoch.
Hoch is higher or greater. I know Logan is Irish descent. I don't know what. I don't know if he speaks German or.
I mean, it's probably some Germanian thing. I don't know. What the? Wait, is Cash App an app? Well, it's in the name. That makes a lot of sense.
Well, Alex, I'm gonna let you go here, and I don't know. Maybe I'll open it up and anybody can come on. We'll talk for the next 15 minutes or something like that. But thanks for coming on. You're welcome on anytime. It was a good conversation.
Cash App doesn't work, so I guess I'll be broke for the rest of my days.
Gotcha. I have this series of shorts where the premise is if Christians argued like atheists. So I take things I've heard atheists say or seen them say in comments or seen famous atheists say or in debates or books I've read, and I just try to recontextualize the form of their argument from a Christian perspective to be like, this is what I see is wrong with the argument. And I'm trying to laugh. I'm trying to make people laugh too. So some of it's over the top, some of it's using voices or whatever. And I've had like 3 or 4 atheists be like, this is hilarious. And everybody else is like, are you trying to do humor right now? It's not working. So I'm just trying to see if we can find atheists that have evolved with a funny bone, really is what I'm trying to do. So
the thing is, of course, you can make jokes, but it's a very annoying thing as an atheist because I'm very lucky that I live in a place where I'm not bombarded by Christians all the time. But for example, in the USA, there's like a church every single corner, apparently. So atheists over there, like they cannot walk a single day without seeing Christianity anywhere or being reminded that what they're doing is immoral because they don't believe in God or something like that.
well,
So then,
yeah, and I would have I have a lot of empathy for atheists, really, and that's where I like even with these videos, I'm not trying to like be mean or like cruel
yeah,
or anything like that. I am trying to actually get people to laugh. That's like my primary thing, and it's philosophical. I'm actually using argumentation, but the primary goal is to get people to laugh. But I have sympathy for atheists because as an Orthodox Christian, I see the state of Roman Catholicism and Protestantism, and I do think that that atheists have really good arguments against Protestantism specifically, and the atrocities that have happened in Roman Catholicism, and they would tip a lot of atheists or Protestants and Roman Catholics will have a lot of issues with me as well. So it's not like we're super buddy all the time.
yeah.
But yeah, I would have empathy for the atheist who points out legitimate problems in from what my perspective is false versions of Christianity. Like, yeah, that's a legitimate issue, but that's
Yeah.
not what I believe.
The thing is, for example, like I have no hate towards you, but when you say atheism is a false religion, I will instantly look at that and be like, "Oh, that's not how that works. It's not a religion." So
Yeah,
technically, it is a false religion because it's not a religion.
so I
But
can keep the title.
technically, yes, but you will definitely have some atheists trying to be like, yeah, it's not a religion, and there are
Right.
definitely going to be the guys that go, "You're a fucking moron. It's not a religion."
That's
And
that's
you're gonna
fine.
have
That's fine.
you're gonna have those people everywhere. Like,
I mean, it's somewhat of a clickbaity title,
definitely.
obviously, but I am trying to pose the question of is there religious attitudes, is there dogmatism, is there faith happening, but it's just atheistic form of it. I mean, I've pointed out atheist churches that they literally have their own creed and they have their own statement of faith and all these things, and they have
Yeah,
their own
those are
worship
weird.
services. And it's like, okay, I'm not saying this is every atheist, but there's hundreds and hundreds of atheists in this one group that are trying to explicitly make it religious. And
Yeah,
then
that's
there's other
wrong.
examples like that where I don't know if you know much about humanism.
I don't know a lot about that. I'm
Well,
gonna be honest. I don't really care all that much. But
it's okay, man. It's okay. To just make my point, humanism is like this atheistic. It's basically trying to take Christian morality and divorce it from Christianity. And the original humanist manifesto explicitly says that it's a religion and that they're trying to build a religion, an atheistic religion. So I would just I would point to these things, even though like your definition of religion is that it has to have, you put brackets of deity, but I'm asking, is it a religion or not? I wouldn't say that. I have lots of data of people commenting on my videos that atheists don't think that it's a religion, but I'm asking, is it a religion despite what they think? Like I would say Christianity is true, but an atheist is going to call me out and be like, well, I don't think it's true, you're false. And it's just because I say it's true doesn't mean it's true. It's
those are both wrong statements. You said I know it's true. That's a wrong statement because you don't know, you have faith. And the other one said, yeah, you're wrong. At first he started good. He said, I don't believe it. And then he said,
right,
you're wrong. How does he know you're wrong?
Right.
Like,
Does he
you
have an
can nev-
argument? Does he have
yeah,
reasons? Can he?
you can never make the argument, oh yeah, you're definitely wrong about that. Like, you can say things like, oh yeah,
Depends on the thing, right? Depends on
Noah's
the
Ark
thing.
didn't most likely did not happen how it was told in the Bible. Noah's Ark definitely did not happen how it was told in the Bible. However, there could be things we're missing. I am never gonna say that it was not a different way. I'm gonna be honest. I don't really care. It doesn't change my days. If it turns out, oh, Noah's Ark is real. Oh, cool.
Well,
Now I can't go to school. Damn.
Let me try one more time, because I had a conversation with another atheist that popped on, and he said very similarly that atheism is not a religion, but we had a good 45-minute talk or something like that, and then he did concede that it is a religion, or that it can be a religion. So you said earlier that you said a couple times that you are open to the fact that you're open to the possibility that Christianity or other gods or deities could be true. You just don't have, from your perspective, you don't have access to that knowledge, so you're not going to make a claim.
I
Is that a
don't
fair
have.
assessment?
Yeah, I don't have the necessary evidence that I would need to look at something and be like, yeah, that's true.
So would you say that the atheists that say, I know that there's not a God, are they being religious and dogmatic and making claims that they don't actually have the goods to back up from your perspective?
I have a feeling that that's not it's not necessarily religion, it's mostly them just either wanting to make people mad at, how bad their argument is, or it's just, someone that does not understand what atheism is. I've had a lot of people say I'm atheistic, and then I said, "Oh, cool." I said, "Okay, yeah, what type of atheism?" And they said something, and I was like, "Brother, that doesn't exist." Like, what are
Was
you
this an
on about?
atheist talking, or was this someone else, like another
Yeah,
perspective?
yeah, it was an atheist talking, and I have a feeling, I don't know, but I have a feeling it was someone religious trying to claim they were atheist to put a bad name on
Oh,
atheism.
like a false flag kind of thing?
Yeah, because I've seen a lot of people saying, like, I've never met an atheist in real life saying, "Yeah, there for sure is not a god," because
Well,
that's
those people do exist. I mean, I've
oh yeah,
talked to them. I
definitely.
mean, I like Dawkins, like I brought up earlier. He said even if he saw physical evidence, he would assume that he has gone crazy and his mind's cracked. He would not accept any evidence, no matter what. And that's like that. He has faith that there's no such thing as evidence towards God. So even if he saw it and he couldn't deny it, he would assume that his perception was off.
I mean, is now the question stands: is atheism a religion if one person acts on it as a religion when other people don't?
Yeah, and I'm not, and I even with that, like I mentioned, there's different, you could say, denominations, just like there are with Protestantism. Could there be nominal atheists? Like I just, I'm an atheist. I just don't really think about it. They're not dogmatic. They're not. I mean, there's definitely atheists like in my comment section that show up. They're like atheist missionaries. It's like their day job to go and try to deconvert as many. They even call themselves like anti-apologists. Their mission in life is to deconvert Christians, as if somehow that's going to make them have a better life or something like that. So
Yeah,
there are
my
definitely different degrees of behavior and attitude and views in atheism.
the
I'm not
thing,
trying to say it's a monolith, but I think they have underlying values,
yeah,
whatever you
the,
want to
the
say.
the thing with me is I don't necessarily want to deconstruct people. I I am an atheist, but I'm not going out every single day like I'm an atheist. Look at me. If you're religious, like shut up and talk to me. Like listen to me. I'm gonna like I don't think about it, but when a Christian, like I'm on Instagram a lot because I just do that. There are comment section of people like saying genuinely wrong things, and I correct them because I don't know. I like correcting people. I want to help people get the truth. I want to help educate people on things they may not know. But the sad thing is that sometimes they think like, "Oh yeah, no, I'm sorry, Alex, you're wrong. Why? Because my book says so."
Yeah, that's a bad argument. That's not how I would.
Yeah,
I would agree with you and have sympathy and empathy towards that theist if it was a Protestant, whoever, is a bad argument. Circular.
yeah. There was also this one girl. This is a very funny story for me. So I was talking to this one girl, and I was just always just like, "Oh yeah, very polite. I'm an atheist. I don't believe in God. She said, "Yeah, I do believe in God." I was like, "Okay, cool for you." And then I was talking about evolution. She was like, "Oh yeah, do you have evidence?" And I sent her a link to a peer-reviewed article about some evidence surrounding evolution and how it works. I was even offering how to explain it. And then at some point, I don't know what happened, she snapped, and she just started spamming, "You are the son of the devil,"
Oh.
over and over and over and over again. And then just said, "I rebuke you, I rebuke you, I rebuke you," and then blocked me. I was
Wow.
like, "What just happened?"
That's that bitch crazy, dude.
So because I don't believe in God, I'm now the son of the devil? Like, I don't believe in him, but that would be fucking dope. Like, what? What? No,
Yeah,
but
that's crazy.
I saw one guy in the comments. I absolutely love this. Someone said, "Oh yeah, I don't believe in Jesus Christ as being God," and then someone commented under him saying, "I rebuke you," and then he answered, "I counterspell your rebuke," and I absolutely.
You've tripped you've activated my trap card.
Oh my god, Yu-Gi-Oh! Amazing game. I have 3 decks and a lot of decks and
Decks.
She wasn't wrong, someone said.
I mean, like this is another conversation. I'm really bad at like ending these streams. Like I'm like, okay, I want to do 2 hours because I got stuff to do, and then like 4 hours comes by. I'm like, gosh, dang it. But one of the last things I'll say is like if you presented evidence for your view of evolution or your account for evolution, trying to make an account for it that you have evidences for it, I'm not an evidentialist itself. I think that people have to interpret data, interpret evidences, and I'm not saying that you are necessarily an evidentialist. That's a philosophical thing. So it's evidentialists typically believe that if you just stack up enough evidence for your belief, then that will prove it to somebody. And I think that just like Dawkins said, he would never believe Christianity no matter what evidence is presented to him. That's just his presupposition that no amount of evidence, even if it was real, actual evidence, he's choosing not to interpret the world in that way. So no amount of evidence I can bring to him is going to change him. So I not that I'm against evidences or presenting evidences for a case, but I don't think if somebody like you had that experience, you presented what you believed as evidence for your case of evolution, and somebody called you the son of Satan. So obviously that evidence wasn't what would change their mind. It didn't. I would say that is kind of just dumb, because they should actually attack it and try to wrestle with it. But I do believe that you have to look at the evidence from a position, from a worldview, through a lens. And I would lean towards questioning the lens and trying to see how we're looking at the evidences. Not that I would say we shouldn't look at the evidences at all, but if we're not realizing that we're interpreting them, then you can fall into this like sola scriptura thing that the Protestants are into, where it's just just read my book, that'll tell you everything. And they have there's 10,000 different sects that read the book entirely differently. You have to interpret it. It doesn't just self-interpret. That your evidence of evolution, like you said, you even would be willing to help her understand it and interpret it. It has to be interpreted, right?
I mean, yeah, but the thing is, it's not like, oh yeah, you have to interpret it. It's like you have to understand it. Like evolution is not simple. Like you can explain it simply, but the actual mechanics behind it, like the evolution of the DNA, how 3 letters make one, like, what do you call it? I forgot the name in English. It makes one thing that then reacts and tells your body how to make something, but just one change of one letter does not necessarily mean that it's going to be an enzyme, I think. No, whatever, does not mean that it's going to be a different thing. I could show you a graph on what letters make
Look at this graph.
Also, I looked at the YouTube thing and someone just said, "How can God poop?" And
What does that mean?
I don't know.
If you don't
Also,
show me God's scat, then I will never believe in God.
also,
That is my epistemic criteria.
yeah. Also, into the break. What the fuck are you on about, brother?
Dude.
What? You are not making any sense. Homie called me a weak man, even though I've been talking to you for 2 hours.
Yeah.
Uh,
Alex, you're a cool guy. We're
that's
friends now, aren't we?
that's wrong, by the way. We did not evolve from monkeys. That's
I know. I know, Dustin. He's making a joke.
okay. Cool. Because there are actually people that
Yeah. They have a low res understanding of the evolutionary account.
exactly. Okay, cool. No, I did add my Discord if you ever need
Oh, yeah.
information about evolution or the thing that I think it's proteins. I think it's actually proteins that they make.
Right. I don't believe in evolution. I don't buy the claim. But that doesn't mean I would like to understand the account and the what the evidence is that is being proposed for evolution, because I would like to genuinely understand it, even if I don't personally believe in it.
Yeah, of course, that's pretty normal, I would assume.
Right. That's not everybody, but
yeah, but not everyone thinks the exact same, and it's kind of sad, honestly. If only everyone would look at evidence and be like, okay, does it make sense? No.
too bad it's all relative, man. Too bad it's all just about.
I mean, it kind
too
of
bad
is.
it's all just societal construction, man. It's all a construct.
Sadly, it is. Okay, so for example, I'm gonna just give you that, and after that, we can leave. For example, if you have DNA and it writes U, as in the letter U, 3 times after a row, that will make the protein called F. That it's just a letter F, because it's just the very short term of it. I don't know the English name for it. However, if it was UUA, then it would make LEU. But if it was UUC, it would still make F. So just one letter difference does not always guarantee a difference in adaptation or evolution. It's just like sometimes if you need UUU to survive, and it all of a sudden,
How
changes
romantic.
and it all of a sudden change like the evolution, it's like the mutation just changes it to UUC instead. It's still going to make the same protein. So
Sorry,
there's not
pecked me.
yeah, so there's not going to be any difference in what protein gets created. So you're not going to feel anything. Like every single human has a lot of different what do you call it, mutations. I think I don't know the exact number, but every single human has a few, I think at least 100 mutations at birth. But as I said, like UGC creates C and UGU also creates C. It's just it can be completely different from letters, but it can create the same thing. Even like as I said, UUA creates L, but CUC also creates L. That's a completely different thing, and it still creates the exact same protein, so it still does the exact same thing. So yeah, that's why mutation either gives a good thing, a bad thing, or even nothing. That's my TED talk. I hope you
Right,
enjoyed
and yeah, I wouldn't disagree with mutations or adaptations like that again. But the thing I put into question or don't buy into is what Kent Hovig, which I don't necessarily agree with him. I don't really know him. I've only seen him a few times.
I hate him. I'm
yeah, that's fine. I don't have to buy into everything he says. I don't even watch him much. I've seen him for like 10 minutes maybe.
He's a wife beater, just saying.
Oh wow.
Convicted as well. So
yeah. Well, hey Alex,
also,
I'm
yeah,
go on. What are you gonna say?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that his doctorate is fake as well. So
all right, well, big L for Kent Hovig then.
Exactly.
All right, I'm gonna let you go, Alex, and good to see you.
If you ever have a question about evolution, go to Forrest Velkai on YouTube. He is he studied evolution. He's a very smart man. Knows a lot about it. So
of course.
yeah.
right. Well, thanks for coming on, man. You're welcome on anytime or watch my stuff. Hopefully you'd find my atheist stuff funny. If not, that's fine too. But
I didn't watch
a
it.
lot of people say it's not even humor. Like, is this supposed to be humor? I'm like,
I think
come
they're
on,
just a
man.
bit butthurt and they want to, make you feel like you didn't make a joke.
Right. Yeah. It's like, my best friend for like 7 years was an atheist, and we would just bust each other's balls. I don't know. Like, why can't I do that anymore?
Used to be an atheist.
Well, I moved and I haven't seen that guy in forever.
Oh.
But yeah, if he and I were in a room, we'd have a beer and catch up. But yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for having me on. It was a nice talk.
Yeah.
I
it was,
hope you
good
know
to have a
that.
talk.
I just hope you don't call atheism a religion again.
Okay. Well, I'm still gonna pose the question and get people's takes on it at least.
You can do that, but don't say like atheism is a religion. Just is atheism a religion?
Okay. That was my first live stream on it is atheism a religion, and that was the first one.
Some will say no, some will say yes. The retards say yes. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Whoa! Hey! I know. I'm right here, man. Well, thanks, Alex, for coming on.
Yeah, of course.
Hopefully, it wasn't too brutal of a conversation, man.
Atheism is my second least favorite religion.
I wonder what the first one is. All right. See, Alex, I'm gonna have on a couple people now. Switching over. What the heck was going on in the chat, you guys? I was kind of like loosely saying.
Okay.
Was there something going on
First
with
of
the
all,
mod?
first Valka.
No. Before anything else is said, somebody cash app. Somebody cash app Mr. Westford $50.
For what?
Okay, we need to address what's happening in chat. Okay.
Okay.
No, there's nothing to address. It is resolved.
Guys, no. Logan, calm down, man. We've got a mod tyrant, and
Is it Skeptic?
It's Logan, man.
Oh, it's Logan.
He has power over the mods. He
they discovered that I have the power to time out every other.
There's multiple steps, or there's tiers of mods. There's like 3 different tiers.
Okay, why am I not the same tier as Logan so I can put him in check?
So that's you guys are being
no.
petty.
That was the first problem. That's not the problem. But then after, we need to remind people that this chat is like a fun chat. We're not here to diss each other and call each other.
Yeah, I mean, there's been people like destroy him, pre-sup him, and I'm like,
no. This is internal. This is internal feuds. There's internal feuds between Bill and Natash, and we can't have that in our chat.
Bill
and Natash was also.
They were arguing over the origins of math, and it got a little nasty.
Okay, I didn't see that at all.
Okay, but
I tried to de-escalate the situation. Like, hey, don't be pushing it, and maybe don't be timing out people just because you got into a little bit of a nasty argument. But
yeah, I don't.
No, but that's the thing, because Logan now thinks he's like this superior being in chat, and so he needs someone to put him in chat, which is me. So
Nadim's gonna put me in check.
So we can we be in the same level, me and Logan?
Well, we'll talk later. How you doing, Anson?
Hey, can you hear me just fine?
I can. Good to see you, sir.
Yeah, you too, man. You too. Yeah, I was a little disappointed in his ability to defend evolution. It was, but that's all right. If you don't, think about it for a long time, it's complicated. And,
he said he's been studying it in university for a year, I believe, is what he said.
Yeah, and university, that's all sterile knowledge. I mean, I've been an atheist since I was like, I don't know, 14 or 15. So I got 25 years of trying to figure all that stuff out, and to not call yourself someone who knows that God doesn't exist and call yourself an atheist is nonsense. It's basically like saying, well, I don't really hold this belief, so I don't really have to defend it wholeheartedly, because if you don't acknowledge that is your belief, then you don't really have to stand on anything. It's a wishy-washy moderate type position.
Right. Do you think it's like this trying to hold like this like position of neutrality while you're still holding an actual position? It's like that myth of neutrality. Right. Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah, yeah, he doesn't. He does. It's a position, holding a position that you don't have to defend.
Right.
It's weakness. Yeah, and not having the courage of your conviction to say what you actually believe, while simultaneously making truth claims.
Right.
It's not. It doesn't make any sense. So
I've seen that with a lot of like agnostics, like when they're having a conversation with, like, let's just say an aggressive atheist, they'll make like some Christian arguments and like push back, but then they hear Christians and they'll make the atheist argument. They'll kind of be like, well, I'm not really involved here, but they'll kind of shift and slide a little bit, like some wiggle room.
right, right, and if so, I don't hold beliefs that I can't challenge. So if I say that I'm an atheist, then that means that God doesn't exist. I know God doesn't exist. And and the Dawkins problem of basically burying his head in the sand and saying, well, if I'm given proof, then I'm still not going to believe. That's just as idiotic. So,
Right. Isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I'm sure that as a Christian, you are skeptical and you have to question, or else you don't have free will. I mean, that's part of the Christian
Right.
faith, right? Yeah. So I mean, and that's why I respect Christians so much, is because, well, the non-dogmatic ones is that they're skeptical like I am. So
Can you define how you would view the word dogma? What does dogma mean?
so it means that's a tough one. I did this in philosophy class, and I don't remember the exact philosophical definition.
Well, how are you using it there then? You said you respect the non-dogmatic Christians.
Yeah,
How
well,
would you be using it there?
Dogmatism is just holding a belief that you are unwilling to shake from. That is a belief that is self-evident, and no outside influence will shake you from your opinion, and you will go into a state of cognitive dissonance so as to avoid, even challenging the thought in your own mind.
Okay.
That's what I would call it. And you're not dogmatic, so that's nice. But
That's
there's a
good
lot
to
of
hear.
yeah.
I would say I believe in the Christian dogmas, but it's good to hear I'm not whatever this negative connotation of, kind of like how we were talking. I don't know if you've been a part of the list last week. We've been talking about like propaganda. Like, what is propaganda? Is it just influence? Is there a negative connotation to it? And is that what propaganda is? So I think there's a negative connotation that you're using of dogma. So like I would say I believe in the dogmas of the Orthodox Church. I believe that they're true and that we need to hold to those dogmas, but I questioned those dogmas for a long time and I didn't accept them. I didn't believe in them. I grew up a Protestant and I converted to Orthodoxy. So I hold to those dogmas, but I did challenge them. I questioned them. I believe they've held up to questioning and scrutiny, but that doesn't mean I'm going to just blindly accept them now. I mean, even now I want to hear arguments against them still so I can further my understanding and know that I know what I know.
Yeah, I don't know about Orthodox belief structures, but I'm assuming that skepticism is an important part of what you believe. In order to believe what you believe, you have to challenge it.
Right.
And so yeah, and that's
So it's like when somebody
dogma.
brings up like sorry to interrupt, like when somebody, let's just say in history, in church history, somebody brings up something that's contrary to Christian dogma. It's like, okay, here's a competing truth claim. Let's use our skepticism to question that. And why does it not hold to what we've been given in the faith? Why is it opposed to our dogma? Is our dogma incorrect or is this correct? And then they have the councils, they came together, they reasoned together about which was the real position. So yeah, it's not about turning your mind off or well, the Bible just says so. So the Bible just says so. That's definitely not the ancient Christian way.
Right. So anyway, yeah, and his Alex, I guess his name was, and it was interesting listening to him because I was kind of where he was, 15 years ago or so in terms of my atheism. But the contortion that he had to go through to justify his morality, it doesn't have to be that difficult, because he kept grasping at straws about, murder is bad in this situation, but if you would have just pushed him as to why a little more, I know you weren't trying to have a debate, you were just trying to have an understanding with him, but
right.
I don't know, it seemed like his foundation was just relativism.
Yeah,
and
I agree.
The way that he described, atheism was, nihilistic, and it basically, there is no way to know, and so we can't know. And and that goes back to some of the atheist assertions, like the different fallacies that atheists believe that all Christians have, like the watchmaker fallacy. Have you heard that one?
I have, but can you say it for the audience or make sure I understand how
Yeah.
you're using it?
Yeah. So God is great and wonderful, and God created this complicated universe and complicated world and humanity, and he's such a great and wonderful creator. For him to have created something so complicated, he would have had to have had an equally complicated, great and wonderful creator. And
Oh,
therefore, who made
infinite
God?
regress. It's saying
Right.
that God, if God exists, who created God has to be an infinite regress.
Right. Right. Yeah. And you know, and I honestly haven't really figured out that one either. The one that if you could explain that one to me, that would be good.
I
I
mean,
haven't
my
figured out
immediate
how to challenge that.
from a Christian perspective, it would be,
Right.
and maybe this isn't the fullest, but this is just my gut reaction of like who created God. What's like, okay, our belief is that God is uncreated, that he was never created. So to say who created God is to make a category error of that he is created, and that our claim is that he is uncreated. So they can say, I think he has to have a creation, or who created him, but that's just not our position. That's the part of what makes him God is that he is uncreated. There is no higher than him.
Right. So you're saying that it's just an assertion that's added that isn't a part of your faith, and therefore it is irrelevant.
Right. Well, I would
Yeah.
challenge. I would have to. I don't see how it logically follows that if God created, because what it's saying is that if God created creation, who created God? If there's something higher than creation, and that is God, what's higher than God? Which I think is potentially a fair question if you're being a skeptic and you're just trying to understand. But if I'm asking, does it logically follow that God could not be uncreated, or there has to be something
Right.
higher than God? How does that logically follow, or is that just, it's kind of like,
Well,
trying to think of an example, like my brain's not coming up with a great example, but it's kind of like what Alex earlier was like, well, we all just know that it's bad to hurt people, or that it's like, okay, well, why? It's like, why does it logically follow with your assessment of morality being relative? Why is it relative in general, but in these specific things, it sounds like you're trying to appeal to an objective state. So it's the logical consistency. We'll go on. I feel like my
Right.
brain's mush after this conversation, but go on, Anson.
Yeah. No, I understand, man. I didn't mean to drag it out longer. It sounded like we were trying to end the stream, so I don't know. But the I guess the other part that while I was watching was that he didn't have a good backup for evolution, and he kind of got stuck on organic evolution and didn't discuss inorganic evolution at all, and how life even began in the primordial
Abiogenesis.
phase.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if you don't believe in God, then you have to basically believe that inorganic material naturally spawns organic material.
Right. You'd have to say that.
And
Yeah. You'd be forced
yeah,
to.
and yeah, and
We
then
are
you'd have to
stardust.
right, exactly. We are. Yeah, and in order to do that, you have to understand how over time inorganic material can naturally form complex objects that are capable of naturally spawning organic material. And see, I'm not a scientist. I'm an accountant, so I don't understand all of that, but I don't really have to understand all of it to think that it's possible.
Right.
And I would suggest that Alex take a look at the Christian ethic, because it's the one that actually makes the most sense. Even if you're an atheist, you can, and I think that's what he was trying to go with, is some of the Christian morality as the justification for what he believes. But he hasn't reached the point yet where he can accept Christian morality as superior and Christian ethics as superior without actually accepting all of the mythology, because you'll live a much happier life if you understand that pride is harmful, and
Right.
some of the problems that occur from atheism in terms of using it to create worldviews through history. It's destructive, and accepting that and maybe saying, well, maybe I don't have to believe in the Christian God, but I can accept the morality. That's a good first step, because that took me a long time to get to, and I would just suggest that any other atheist watching this try and take that step.
And I had respect of Alex saying he didn't know how to answer something or he was too tired or whatever. I'm not going to fault somebody for not having a good answer to a question they never heard. I just hope that it got him to think and maybe he can progress his thought life in these bigger questions to some degree.
Yeah, man. Hey, and try and make comedy on this channel. I thought it was a comedy channel.
Yeah, it's supposed to be. People are like, get this guy on. So, I mean, I whenever I do these kind of like more like interview styles, I'm trying to be a little more neutral. I mean, you could tell I was throwing some jokes in there, but yeah, I'm still trying to figure out the line of when it gets serious, where we're. Yeah, I'm still trying to figure it
out. Have some jokes ready on cards.
Oh,
and just read them like Norm Macdonald style, like
okay.
you know,
you have to read it.
We can update. there you go. Yeah.
I love that how he wrote jokes that the most horribly offensive things he had to get other people to read, and then he'd be like, "Oh my god, how can you even say that?" It's really funny. Okay, well, I'll work on that.
Yeah, man. Well, hey, I'm gonna bounce. You had a good show, and I appreciate the time, man.
Yeah, good to see you again, Anson. I hope the show keeps getting better. I will. You guys like that? Was it a good conversation? Do I need to be funnier? Do I get an L for not being funny this whole time? I don't know. What is going on with my chat still? Can we get Natasha and Bill to be on and give their cases? I don't know. Apparently there's some drama. I like Natasha.
Now Logan is starting drama with me.
Oh my gosh.
Starting drama.
I like Natasha. I like Bill. You guys are great. Do I need to put you guys in timeout? Do I need to make you guys sit and talk and have a make up? Do you need to kiss and make up? What's going on here? I don't know. Do I have to go back into the comments? Do I have to do that?
Yeah.
Brother Logan, what's going on? What's going on with my chat?
Absolute anarchy.
Oh, all right. Did you cause it, like Nadim said?
I don't think so. I mean, I do blame myself for not hopping in and trying to mediate the argument a little bit. It might not have helped anything, but.
Well, yeah. Thank you, John. John says great show. Wasn't expecting to have a 2-hour conversation with Alex, but that's what we happened. Do we go back to to Gay Anderson now? Gay Anderson.
Back to yeah.
Big snake prattle.
Yes. Oh, you know it's my favorite.
So hey mods, I have given you power. I've bestowed it to you, so you can wield it, and you may have to give an account to me. You will stand at the dread judgment seat of Westford to give an account for your decisions, but that doesn't mean you can't. There's room for jokingly timing out. It's just a timeout, dude. It's just a timeout. You have that power. I bestowed it to you, but don't time people out just for an opinion or whatever. I literally have no idea what happened. But whatever. You have anything else to say? Do I need to gather evidence like a PI and figure out what happened to my chat?
Absolutely. This needs to become a it needs to be a episode of Mr. Westford's Supreme Court. Mr. Westford is the last court of appeals for the channel.
I see Bill says I should leave chat before my rich get revokes. That sounds like a confession right there to me. Is it before that? Is it after that?
It was before that. No, just everybody started getting all up in their feelings about it. I don't know why.
I'm seeing evidence of it. I got to figure out where it starts here. Logan Vamp while I investigate. I'm going to do some science here real quick.
All right. So I hope everybody's been enjoying the show. I know chat is a little sidetracked. Yeah, it's good to see everybody. It's good to see everybody. I see John, the Booty Alchemist himself, is still in chat. Might have to bring him on.
Okay, I see Bill saying something or other, and then Natasha sounds like you need a nap. That's just some friendly advice. Oh, nope. Okay, right above that. I'm not saying that all. You literally made that up. Oh my gosh, it's like you're talking to a brick wall. Basically, you're saying knowledge is from fallen angels. Dude, I don't know. Oma says exactly. So yeah, W for me. Whatever I said.
Oh, my offer still stands. If somebody can donate a $50 Cash App to keep Wesley weird, then I will time out every other mod.
I didn't realize that was on stake. Yeah, I did
that's been my offer.
I got a $20 super chat earlier to fund the persecution of Yakub.
Oh, bet.
That's what it says. What does it have to do with anything? I'm still not there. Churches use math and geometry. Oh my gosh, you guys talking about sacred geometry stuff? Is that what it was? Sounds like you're talking about the Book of Enoch. This is really great content, everybody. 18 viewers watching this science happen in front of our eyes. Where's Nadim? I don't know. I wish he'd hop into the StreamYard so we can hear his voice, but I don't see him. I wouldn't even believe in Nadim if he appeared in front of my face, though, so that's a problem too. Something about shaving scrotums. I don't like that. What am I missing here? Did I miss it? Math is part of God's creation. Oh my gosh, you guys have been arguing this whole show or something, is it? That was like an hour ago. All right, I've done enough investigating. I don't care. That's my conclusion. Y'all make up yet? Let me see what you guys are saying. No, we're cool. Cool. All right, you're cool. I'm cool. We're all cool. What's up? Yeah, I guess we're beefing. Black hands in the chat. I think we all won today. You guys will really win if I get a $50 super chat, because the solution to the beef that's happening in the chat was everybody gets timed out. You equally get punished. We will be racist towards every race, and that's how we're going to solve the problems. Something like that. Hey, Nadim, there you are.
Oh, yeah, I wasn't there. I just came back. So,
what do you have to say for yourself, man?
No, not for myself. I just want to explain what happened.
Okay, you saw it?
Modi the G. You kicked me off. I was just doing a joke, man. Okay, and I just wanted to talk to Anson. You weren't letting me in.
Gotcha. Sorry. What do you want to say?
No, because we're talking friendly, me and Anson, about the transcendental argument, and I mean, to be honest, he wasn't making sense, but I was being friendly. But then after, like Bill and Natasha started fighting, and and they were whining like kids like 2 minutes ago. So I don't know why.
Nadim, you keep you like to bring the drama back into reality. They already said they're cool.
No, but let me explain what I tried to do and what Logan tried to do. I need to respect the main mod, okay? Logan handled it really well. And I tried to help him.
Didn't you just try to throw Logan under the bus?
But earlier? I did try to help him. Anyways, I think it's resolved now, and
that's good.
And I think they should hug and acknowledge their Polish backgrounds, and be happy about their aligned blood. Like they can fight. It's not a problem, but it was a long fight. I'm glad.
Well, I hope that only brings them together. I do see racial slurs in the chat right now. So.
All right, I have returned.
Oh, hello.
Sorry, duty call.
Just a comedic segment. I just still believe I deserve the same power as Logan.
Apparently that link doesn't work, but the pinned link works. I don't know why. If you want to donate, hey, John Mondragon, no chat, just sent $20. So collectively we're at $40. So Logan, will you change your stipulation if we get another $10, $50 total for this show? Will that unleash the mod super? What I don't know. What are we calling it? The Hadouken, the mod Hadouken.
Okay. Me being a comedic part of the channel, I vote that I don't get timed out by this ordeal.
Yeah, he already. I was gonna say he got his time out from the Yakub persecution
Yeah.
one.
I'm just kidding, buddy, but I will persecute you. So let's go. How about we finish this? It's a little bit long, but I can stay for this. I'd like to cap it off by watching this, because that's what we started to do. I'm sure there's like one person's like, just get back to Mr. Anderson. I came for Mr. Anderson. There's actually that person doesn't exist. I do not believe that person exists. So
Seeking
here we go.
refuge from like being under some religious, so it doesn't need to hide under some religious idea like Christianity. Darwinian evolution should be able to stand on its own and defend itself, correct?
So I didn't actually know it at the time, but this is sort of a mainstay presuppositionalist talking point, and it is kind of a trap because one of their big things is that they say that it is impossible for an atheist to justify their worldview without resorting to Christianity, and that you have, because God is the source of all logic and reason, and you can't have logic and reason without God, that any kind of scientific theory or anything that doesn't have God as its basis is, epistemologically and ontologically bankrupt. They like to throw around these big philosophy words, right? But fundamentally what they're saying is that if you don't believe in God, you can't know anything.
No, that's not it. That's
and
not it.
Of course, that's not true. But
that's not the argument.
You can see how, sort of, without actually realizing it, just by being careful and sticking with the sort of the fundamentals of, stating my assumptions, we're able to avoid that problem.
I'm not sure what you mean.
So, like,
so what's his point? You can avoid tag by not engaging with it.
He's saying that tag is saying that if you don't have God, then you can't have knowledge. You can't have anything that we have. And he's saying, well, that's not true. We have it. But the tag argument is, how do you know that you have it? What's your justification? What's your reasoning? It's looking at the paradigm level.
Yeah, tag isn't saying you don't have the transcendentals. It's saying that your worldview basically can't account for them and or denies them.
Right. That's the thing. Is your worldview consistent with what we have, with the knowledge, with the transcendentals we have? If you say, like, you're a nominalist, you don't believe that universals happen, but you claim that universally there's no universals, that's self-contradictory. That's self-defeating. So the precept argument would be asking that. How do you know that? And then seeing if it's consistent. Did he give a how you avoid it? Basically, this sounds like, let's find out.
The views of Christians. So Darwinian evolution can stand on its own.
I think that, like, I guess part of the problem I'm having is that I think Darwinian evolution has some other meanings as well, and I'm kind of getting those mixed up in my mind. But okay, but we'll use your terminology because that's fine. So
this is another thing that I'm doing here, where I'm not getting into a terminology fight, especially about something that doesn't matter. So he's defined Darwinian evolution, and I don't think it's actually the correct definition. And it's I mean, he probably means the modern synthesis, but it doesn't matter. And so, he's defined the term, and so that's like, okay, it's fine. That's the term that we'll use. And I throw that in there about how you're using kind of an idiosyncratic definition just to make sure that he doesn't try and switch definitions to a more conventional definition kind of halfway through.
His face is so annoying.
That's just kind of a more subtle thing that's going on there.
Yeah, I don't know.
Darwinian evolution defend itself from what kind of attack on its own? I mean, I'm not sure how robust its defense is with respect to like the cause of the Big Bang. Like, it can't defend that on its own because that's well outside of purview, right?
Well, I'm talking about
what do you mean by defend itself?
So yeah, I'm talking about Darwinian evolution. I'm not talking about cosmic evolution. So Darwinian evolution doesn't need to like appeal to the beliefs of a Christian. It can stand on its own.
It can stand on its own in terms of the things that it says, right? Again, this has to do with, like, in terms of attacks from what
Can you
from
pause
what
a
angle?
bit?
Like, so I guess first of all, do you
what's up?
I mean, it's so easy to make fun of both sides, because I mean, look at who he's arguing against. Look
A little
at the guy
child anime thing.
Yeah, the guy on the bottom right, I can do.
I can
It's
do.
like it's like the grandma of evangelical Christian
The
memes.
live, laugh, love evangelical fish.
Well, I just don't
Evangelical.
believe that Pokemon's real, so we should just. Dustin, I see you're joining. It says you need to connect your devices. Oh, there you are. Hello, Dustin.
Dustin, man.
Good day, gentlemen.
Sup,
Hello.
dude?
I shouldn't have found the Pokemans joke that funny, but I know a couple people like that.
Logan, do
Yes, I do
do
too.
you have different suits that you wear every day, or just you wear the same one every day?
So
Genuine question.
I have 2 pairs of pants, 3 short sleeve shirts, and 3 long sleeve shirts, and they get washed.
And the same.
Right. Okay, guys. Here on topic. I wanted to address what he said. How essentially what they're arguing is that you guys can't explain where knowledge comes from, therefore you don't have knowledge. No, that's not the argument. The argument is a meta level. It's justifying what knowledge is. It's an epistemological question, meta epistemological, really. How is it that we can have knowledge at all? How is it? And that's a really, really, frankly, impossible thing from materialistic evolution. It's like Jim Bob's argument, right? If you have one state of physics moving to another state of physics, how do you ever get propositions? There's no connection there. I also like
it's an emergent cope of the brain.
Yeah, emergent cope, exactly. And then in that second clip that you said, I was thinking about how you're talking about like evolution and how do we justify these things. I remember one of my first conversations that I ever had with Father Deacon Ananias. We were chatting evolution, and he brought up how materialistic evolutionists want order to be granted. And order is not a thing that exists materially. You can't recognize what order is or what chaos is without an intelligent agent involved.
Right. It doesn't. Those concepts don't exist independently. And that's what I kept trying to harken with Alex. Harp on, whatever. Do these things exist independently of us, or are they constructs that come with us? If we all died out, would those things still exist? And it seemed like he was saying yes sometimes and no sometimes. He would say like it's all based on the premises of evolution, which is just you have to survive and pass on your genes. But now we're past that. We have this layer 2 that we can't justify that's on top of it, and it's subjectively based upon our feelings and different societies. But then when you have that, it's like, okay, well, why can't I have a society that does something you consider immoral? And it's like, well, you can't because of the harm principle. And science can say it's really bad to make 5-year-olds drink alcohol because it affects them. But it's like, you're trying to say it's subjective and objective at the same time. It can't be both.
Right. Right. And there is always this implication of direction towards complexity and order. But what's really interesting is they want that granted because all of the evidence actually points to the opposite with entropy. What we have evidences for in the physical world is entropy, from order to chaos and destruction, as it were, as we can see it. So how do you ever end up getting these systems? Ultimately, they're systems, biological systems that can harness energy and increase in order and complexity towards a certain function. I mean, do you see every single word that I'm saying is so loaded with so much philosophical baggage. It's just wild how they don't think about this stuff.
Well, that was like with Alex. It was like I wanted to hear him out and let him talk, but there was almost there was a while, like almost every sentence had like 3 or 4 things that I could put into question, and how you justify that with the other things you've said, and how you define that. And yeah, it's all loaded, and it's not just look at the definition, go to the infallible dictionary, and that's what it means. And that's like sola dictionary or something.
Right. And it's interesting that the part that I came in, I got to hear Alex talking about DNA and how the letters will produce certain things, and sometimes a change in the letter does make a different production, blah, 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 right? Yeah, I was listening to some kind of geneticist talking about how DNA, the coding that's in there is so much more complex than anything that we have, even in like the most advanced computers. It's a completely like multi-dimensional language. So for example, the example that he used is, say you have a string of DNA and it can be read starting from the first letter, and you read it through in the first letter and it gives you a story about, like, going to the store and whatever. Well, let's say you start from letter 2 and you read the same letters that are present. Well, now the information is actually completely different. It would be like reading a cookie recipe, something completely unique. Just from, even though they're all the same letters, but the complexity of the coding and decoding is able to produce a completely unique set of information when you start reading from a different position. And you go to you start reading from the third letter, and then you end up having something completely different,
Yeah, and it makes me think of Breakfast Taco was saying that letters are proof of self-evident truths, that you can look at the letter A and just, it's self-evident that it means the letter A, and it's self-evident that it has that sound, which is just ridiculous to me.
Yeah, I like going on this too. So what conveys more information? A
Can you hear that? Can you hear this? Can you hear that?
No.
Ah, dang it. Okay, I haven't fixed it yet.
Oh.
I'll figure it out.
What conveys more information? A dot, the letter A, or a QR code, or some set of that we look at it and it just looks like squiggles and dots? What conveys more information? It's kind of a hard question, right? Because
So,
when you
one more
lay it
time,
out,
squiggles and dots versus what?
yeah, so dot, letter A, a QR code, right? Like the digital QR codes that your phone can take a picture of.
Right.
Yeah, and then something that we've never seen before, but just imagine like a pile of, it would look like a pile of yarn with other little dots in it. It just looks like squiggles all over the place, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which is of those conveys the most information?
It seemed like it would depend on the person perceiving. Like, I would look at a QR code and know personally that you can use a phone to scan it and do something, but it doesn't tell me what that something is I'm scanning. But another person would have no idea what that is, and it just looks like a barcode on a box of cereal. But most people would be able to look at the letter and know what that's conveying to some degree. So then all that is begging the question. Maybe I don't know. Is that the right word?
Correct. Yeah.
But
So what I'm getting at here is that there's a distinction between the signifier and the signified.
Right.
Okay. So like, it's not actually like we could look at it as humans and look at the QR code, and we could say, oh, well, that probably has some kind of information in it, but we don't have the capacity to decode it, right? There's encoding and decoding, the signifier and the signified. We don't know what's being signified. It could actually be nonsense. Like it could be a nothing QR code and there's no information present. but you need a decoder to be able to figure that out. And then in the fourth example of the squiggles and dots and stuff, it could just be a chaotic mess, or it could have some kind of decoding key involved, and it could contain all of the information on the internet for all we know.
Right.
You know? But it just depends on how it's encoded and decoded. And the decoding mechanism is not always something apparent. There's some other layer behind it, and like that's how computers essentially work, and that's how they go with computing language. And that's where I'm getting at here, is that when it comes to DNA and this coding and decoding mechanism, when you start going from one species to another, it's basically like you're changing the whole operating system that encodes and decodes this DNA. So you have too many changes. Like, you can't just have like a little minor change bit by bit. There's actually a full encoding and decoding system that goes along with it that's not entirely apparent. So you really can't jump from one species to another with DNA strands without.
From my understanding, a big problem in evolution is that it does like the composition fallacy, where, we have similar phenotypes in these different species, therefore they must have a common ancestor, or they have similar genetic code in their genotype, so therefore they must have a common ancestor. But that doesn't necessarily follow that just because they have like a cat has a tail and a monkey has a tail. I'm not saying this is the evolutionary account, but this is just an example off the top of my head, that because they have some similarity, therefore they had a genetic ancestor they both evolved from. That doesn't follow.
Right. I mean, yeah, exactly. We can simply make the same argument. Well, they look similar, so they have a common creator. Like, there's really no, just going morphologically, there's not really anything to sway you one way or the other on the argument.
Right.
Right. So, yeah, I love talking evolution. I'd be down to chat with Alex sometime, but I came in late. I was busy.
I think my headphones just died. Well, that's all for me, folks.
I'm vamping. I'm covering.
These guys at all. You guys could be talking bad about me right now, and I don't even know. My headphones are
all right.
dead.
Just leave the stream on, and I will drink a cup of coffee and give everybody a 3-hour rant.
Moldy.
All right. We yapping.
Make sure you're there still. Did that work?
Oh, was I supposed to time the mods out for longer?
Yeah, there it is. Cool. Well, I hope you guys had it. I'm gonna take you guys off because I don't know. Yes, love. You want some bubbles? Well, hope you guys had a good day. Hope that was a good chat. I'm very glad that we didn't have to watch any more of Mr. Anderson. Y'all have a good day, and yeah, Alex, it'd be cool to see you and Dustin connect and have a conversation. Y'all have a blessed day. Gargi Marjo, the chat and me bows to the chat.